Great Independence Day. Happy Independence Day, folks. For those
Liberia, it's your day. It's time to party. This is real fight. Doing it for y'all. I am proud to be a Liberian, and I don't care what anybody go say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray, cause today is our Independence Day. Liberia, oh our day. Liberia, we are free. Liberia, number one. Liberia, Liberia, our day. Liberia, we are free. Cause today is our day. Liberia now my country, now my motherland, and I'll be where them bomb me. That's why I started the hustling real bad. So if you don't know me, don't judge me. We don't want gunshots, we don't want po-po. All we want is equal rights and peace to make our dough. Hey, Liberians, you and me, Liberians, me and you. Let's live in harmony and peace who prevail. Do what is right and good and take our children back to school. Hard work and determination and we will fail. Yeah, economically, strategically, physically, we can make a difference automatically. Let's live in unity, all for one and one for all. I am proud to be a Liberian, and I don't care what anybody go say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray, cause today is our Independence Day. Liberia, oh our day. Liberia, we are free. Liberia, number one. Liberia, Liberia, our day. Liberia, we are free. Cause today is our day. How long will you cry? Tell me how long? Rise up, forget about the past. Is dead and gone. Don't hate your brother. When you're capable of doing wrong, all we have to do is join hands and sing this song. We are free. Liberia, we are free. Forever we are free. One time when we are, oh man, baby, and if you get Naraja, fire to Mapa, remember, Bombaga, are you ready? People, are you ready? Independence Day, jump and shout to it. Screwface, where I am proud to be a Liberian, and I don't care what anybody go say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray, cause today is our Independence Day. Liberia, oh our day. Liberia, we are free.
Today is your Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to all of you around the world.
We are free.
Liberians celebrating this special day. We want to send special Independence Day celebration to all of you back home and, of course, around the globe.
It's time to party. It's time to shake that stress off. Forget about the past.
It's about time that we forget about the past and move forward.
Let's go. Say what?
Christian Roberts, happy Independence Day to you. God got my back, Brady. God, she said, God got my back, Brady. That's what it is. What happy Independence Day to you?
Okay. When I say screw, you say face. Screw face. When I say screw, you say face. Screw face.
Daniel Duarte, welcome to the show, folks. As you get on, folks, do us a favor, share the video, invite somebody, tell somebody else to come and be a part of the closing act. The Independence Day celebration is open mic. We're inviting everybody to be a part of this conversation. Happy Independence Day to you.
It's your day. Jump up. Hey, put on some. Hey, put on some. Hey, put on some. Hey, put on some. Hey, now what's your body? Shake your body. Shake your body. Hey, now shake your body. Shake your body. Aye. So bend down, oh, baby, I bend down, oh, bend down, oh, baby, I bend down, oh, say put your hands up, put your hands up,
Happy Independence Day to you, Kennedy Corey. Thank you. It's an Independence Day, and we got to do what we got to do. We are celebrating 177 years of existence. A Let us do all we can together to celebrate this wonderful day together. Wherever you're joining us from, let us know, and we will send a special shout out to you.
Liberia, we are free. It's your
Folks, as you join us, like we said, share the video. Tell somebody else to come and be a part of the closing argument. It's your Independence Day. You got to celebrate with us. Let us open and close the argument together.
And I don't care what anybody will say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray. Cause today is our Independence Day. Liberia, oh our day. Liberia, we are free. Liberia, no more war. Liberia, Liberia, our day. Liberia, we are free. Cause today is our day. Liberia now my country, now my motherland, land I be where them bomb me. That's why I started the hustling real bad. So if you don't know me, don't judge me. We don't want gunshots, we don't want po-po. All we want is equal rights and peace to make our dough. Liberians, you and me, Liberians, me and you. Let's live in harmony and peace who prevail. Do what is right and good and take our children back to school. Hard work and determination and we will fail. Economically, strategically, physically, we can make a difference automatically. Let's live in unity, all for one and one for all. I am proud to be a Liberian, and I don't care what anybody will say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray, cause today is our Independence Day. Liberia, oh our day. Liberia, we are free. Liberia, no more war. Liberia, Liberia, our day. Liberia, we are free. Cause today is our day. How long will you cry? Tell me how long? Rise up, forget about the past. Is dead and gone. Don't hate your brother. We are capable of doing wrong. All we have to do is join hands and sing this song. We are free. Liberia, we are free.
Organized bet, he said. Lofa Julius is dressed and ready. Lofa Julius is only here to do a little bit of things. The show was fire yesterday. We appreciate all of you that continue to do what you got to do. Like you said, the show was fire yesterday. Had it not been because of people like yourself, it wouldn't have been like it was yesterday. But because you do due diligence, you share the show, you invite other people to be part of the conversation, and that's what makes it the closing argument. You open the argument, and the panelists close the argument for you. In addition to our guests and special studio supporters, back home and here, folks, we cannot do this without you. We appreciate you all for being a part of the conversation every day when you can be a part of it. The likes of Christian Roberts, God Got My Back, Peabody, Daniel Boisia Dode, Kenneth Curry, a religious follower of the platform, Organized Bet. My first time kind of noticing the name on here, but I'm hoping that you will be a religious follower of the platform. Hopefully every day, make it a part of your day-to-day activity to share the platform, invite other people. And let's do this together. This is about Mama Liberia. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about any one of us individually. It's about Mama Liberia. Let's do this together, folks. Let's take this one. It's your Independence Day celebration. Let's celebrate together. Okay.
When I say screw, you say face. Screw face. Screw face. When I say screw, you say face. Screw face. Screw face. I tell you, Liberia, 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 Liberia. Morovia.
Happy Independence Day to you, my mother. And of course, the Miss Beautiful Miss Sita Chelsea P. Norris herself is in the building. You can't miss her. Always a pleasure to have you here, Miss Sita Chelsea P. Norris.
Jump up.
We say Happy Independence Day to you and your household. Much love to all of you.
Now shake your body, shake your body, shake your body. Now shake your body, shake your body. So bend down, Liberia, bend down, bend down, Liberia, bend down. So put your hands up, put your hands up, This is Crew and the Fits. I do Liberia, Liberia, we are free, Liberia, no more war. Liberia, our day.
It's the Independence Day celebration, folks. Let's go ahead and show the video. Valerie Sweetie Sharif, welcome to the show. She said, Happy Independence Day. Same thing to you and your household. We spent a special birthday or Independence Day. Shout out to you. Anniversary. Shout out to all of you that are celebrating special days. But most importantly is the Independence Day celebration. Let's all celebrate together and make this one happen.
We are free. Liberia, our day. We are free. Today is our day. Liberia now my country, now my motherland, land I be where them bomb me. That's why I started the hustling. So if you don't know me, don't judge me.
Don't judge me because you don't know my story. My hustle started right in Liberia. And I'm telling you, this is where it all started. Godwin Campbell Tarsinian. Welcome to the show. Happy Independence Day to you and your family. Wherever you may be joining us from, is a happy Independence Day celebration. All Liberians around the world, you're doing your thing. How you doing and how you celebrating this day? We want to appreciate you.
We can make a difference automatically. Let's live in unity.
Let us all live in unity and make Liberia a better place for all of us.
To be a Liberian, and I don't care what anybody will say. I will jump and sing and shout hooray.
I would definitely jump, celebrate, dressed up, and make sure I'm celebrating this July 26th.
Liberia,
Liberia, it is our date. Let us do this together. Get somebody else on here. The folks are going to be joining us shortly.
Our day, we are free. Today is our day. How long will you cry? Tell me how long. Rise up, forget about the past. Is dead and gone. Don't hate your brother. We are capable of doing wrong. All we have to do is join hands and sing this song. We are free. Liberia, we are free. Oh, no more war. Forever we are free. When time when we are, oh man, baby, and if we get
Happy Independence Day, folks. Let's take a little bow to our sponsors. We got a few commercials that we're going to get into while we get ourselves ready. Let's get this commercials rolling. Studio, we can go ahead with the commercials if you have them queued out already, and then we will hopefully get back out here and do a little bit of recognition of our audience, contributors, and other people as best as we can while we wait for our panelists to join us today. Tonight is going to be a heated conversation, folks. A lot going on, a lot to talk about in and around Liberia. So let's start with our commercials, and then we will get into other things that need to be done. Samson Nouveau said, Happy Independence Day, Julius, and to all Liberian home and across the globe. Julius, you are more than a DJ. Very fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Let's take our let's go ahead and take our commercial here, and then we will be right back.
Is Grace Kumapakima. I am a child and a grandchild too. Someday I will grow up to be a woman and a mother too. All children are vulnerable, be it rich, poor, black, or white. We as children need your protections at all times. Stop stigmatizing us by raping us. Sex is not for children. Stay away from us. We have the right to a healthy and happy life. We have the right to move and play freely even if our parents or guardians are not around. We as girls, children say a big no to gender-based violence.
Let us stop the abuse against our children, girls and boys. Rape is evil. It is a crime. Don't hesitate to call the police whenever there's a situation. A message from the Liberian Women Advocacy Network International, Lawani.
Do we have another one over there? There should be another one, right? The one from Europe. Do we have another one? I think you're muted. Tobin, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
I want to let you in on Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook, Instagram, the entire land of social media, including WhatsApp. As always, Liberians all across the east coast of the USA will converge in the first state of Delaware to celebrate Liberia's Independence Day. The First State Old Timers Sports Association, in collaboration with Delaware Liberian Association, presenting to you and yours Liberia's 177th Independence Day celebration. It's going down on Saturday, July 27, when IE come face to face with Mighty Barua. The last time these two teams met, Invisible 11 IE became the victim. Can Mighty Barua repeat history? Let's wait for 90 minutes of soccer action. Invisible 11 this time will depend on Coach George Dwaba, Captain Augustine Jabate, Coach Dio Wale, Joe Sandy, and the man John Timber. Others are top defender Edrich Guar, striker Kwekwe Giffler, and the midfield maestro James Kankobato. As Madi Barrow this time is making plans to change the playbook, depending on undefeated coach Abdul Tor, Lance Fofana, Cephas Bestman, and Frank Weeder. Others are O'Brien Folly, Augustine Say, and Randy Nipa. Admission is absolutely free. Address is 1308 Fog Road in Wilmington, Delaware. Gates open at 2 p.m. and game time is 5 p.m. I'm told the kickoff will be taken by one-time Lone Star, former Minister, Youth and Sports Honorable Zoga Wilson. Independence Day t-shirts is on sale for $25 US. Food and drink will be on sale as well. Vendors will pay $125 each. Then later on, the evening hours, 8 p.m., Delaware Liberian Association will host the Grand Independence Day Ball and Dinner. Admission is $20 US. Address is the Enoch Center, 24 Belvin Center in Newcastle, Delaware. For more information, please contact O'Brien Foley at 267-312-2745, James Colligenian 646-374-6583, and Frank Weeder 610-717-2635. You can also call the Honorable Jackson Seaton 302-299-6996. And of course, feel free to call the one and only Big Papa B and Cassidy at 215-704-1606. Come all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm yours truly, G. Francis Togba, asking you to converge in Delaware to celebrate Liberia's Independence Day with the First State Old Timers Sports Association and Delaware Liberian Association.
Money champion, money champion. Please let me soccer to be a triple champion. I let me soccer. Please let me soccer to be a triple champion. I let me soccer.
Okay, happy Independence Day again, folks. Welcome once more. Welcome to the closing argument. As you join us, do us a favor. Excuse me, folks. Do due diligence, right? Share the video, invite somebody, tell somebody else. The closing argument is on, and we are here again to provide what is in the best interest of Mama Liberia. We cannot walk away from our individual responsibilities while we hold those who are in power and holding on to state authorities accountable. But we want to welcome all of you wherever you may be joining us from. We want to wish you all a happy Independence Day. Great to be on here this 26th day of July 2024. Look, we could have been anywhere else in the world, anywhere, but you chose to be right here with us on the closing argument, and we appreciate that. Alice York, welcome to the show. Cole Tamanda, happy Independence Day to all Liberians. JMB Rescue Government continue to bring disgrace to our beloved country. She said, Dubba Cynthia, happy Liberia's birthday. Simpson Newville said, happy Independence Day. Lofa, I read that earlier. But folks, we want to welcome all of you to this, again, special day as we celebrate. Often we will say to you, it's a holiday, so we had to take the day off, or we have the guys back home to take the day off and celebrate. But it is our Independence Day. So we thought to be here today to discuss it. So we will have a little bit of, twist in our agenda for today. We will take phone calls. We'll give you the opportunity to call in, wish your family and friends happy Independence Day, celebrate with them, and talk about things that you feel are of relevance to that. As the panelists join us, we will get into all the detailed conversations, but that's how we're going to start the day off, and we'll acknowledge you as you come on. But do us a favor, folks. The least you could do is to just go here and share the video. We will take the Independence Day song one more time, and then we will get with the guys in studio. Guys in studio, hopefully you can get yourselves together. We will start taking phone calls while we wait for the rest of the panelists to join us. But before we do that, let's take this song one more time. The Independence Day celebration song from the man Screwface. And then we'll bring everybody up here.
No sound, Lofa.
Okay, I think you guys kind of stopped there, right? Yeah, because you guys kind of shared, you stopped it here. Let's do this. Let's open up the phone lines and start taking calls so that folks can talk about the July 26th celebration from Liberia. Let's get people's view on the 26th celebration. What do they make of the celebration in Liberia? How are things going on in the country? But before we do that, let's start with you in studio. How are you doing? Happy Independence Day to you. How is it going for you and the rest of the guys in studio?
Well, I'm doing okay, and you, Lofa?
Hey, I am grateful to be alive to celebrate the 177th existence, the independence of Mama Liberia. So I'm grateful to be here to be a part of today's conversation. Hopefully, we can have, again, another stimulating conversation in the day. So let's do that and bring and as the guys and ladies come on, we will do that. But let's start, Grace. Let's start before we start taking calls back home. Happy Independence Days to you, Sister Grace. Welcome to again the platform, the closing argument. How is it? How was your end as it comes to the Independence Day celebration? You look a little bit excited, not so excited, but not at all, right? All right, we'll take it as not excited. All right, you look not so excited. What's going on? It's Independence Day. Why are you not so excited? We're talking Liberia. And I know you're very passionate about that country. Why would you not be so excited to celebrate 177 years of existence? Independence, we should say.
Well, I would like to say thanks for being on the platform, and I would like to say Happy Independence Day to everybody, all Liberians around the world. My name is Grace Guar. I am happy to be here as usual, and I'm looking forward to the discussion tonight. I am very excited. Sometimes my look don't reflect my excitement for Liberia, but it is true that I'm excited because we reached a certain milestone, which is 177 years. I also am not excited so much because we are not getting to where most Liberians will want to see the country be at. So, I have these mixed feelings when it comes to Liberia, but I always excited because Liberia is my country and where I was born and where I grew up. So everything about Liberia is exciting for me. Thank you.
Thank you, says Grace. We all have to be excited for the mere fact that we are Liberians. I'm proud to be a Liberian. Will always be proud to be a Liberian, and I will celebrate Liberia while I criticize the ill practices of those in government and those who were in government before. So, for all of your contribution and consistent advocacy, both for the women community and the nation as a whole, we must commend you and appreciate you for your dedication, your commitment, and everything that you continue to do for Liberia on this wonderful day of independence. We must acknowledge those of you who continue to contribute to the growth, the success, and the progress of Mama Liberia, regardless of where you are, how you're going about with it. We must say to you, thank you, congratulations, happy Independence Day. The man, St. Tomalin George, is joining us. Welcome to the show. Let's hear from you, boss man.
Well, it's happy Independence Day to all Liberians at home and abroad. 177 years ago, we declared to the world that we're an independent nation. And since then, we are one of the oldest republics in Africa. In fact, the oldest republic in Africa. And we declared that we're an independent nation. And from there, we started our governance process. And I know today they talk about the times today about our national our orator speech, but a lot to be said about that. We've been on the phone line since the program ended, talking to all sides, and I'm one of those who said that the U.S. ambassador chargé d'affaires, she was very disrespectful and by walking off on doing our National Independence Day program. People have different views, but we'll discuss it. But
I don't think so.
On this day, we must reflect on the past, the present, and the future of our country. Today in America, there are Liberians. Some Liberians, like in Pennsylvania, our Liberian Community Association went down to the City Hall, where our flag was hoisted and appropriate recognition was given to our country by the Pennsylvania state. We appreciate that, and as this happening across the 50 states, perhaps where Liberian communities are very active, is occurring. And appropriate programs will be held tomorrow and also on Sunday and so forth. But tomorrow, most Liberians will be having programs in the various states about this 26th day. But we are happy that we are able to celebrate our Independence Day in Liberia and outside Liberia. And as the program goes forward, we discuss the importance of this day and all what's occurred today and presently trending in cyberspace right now.
Thank you, Tomalin. Like you rightfully said, there are mixed feelings around here when it comes to the decision of the U.S. Embassy or dedications to have walked out, and there are folks who are also saying, again, I think to some extent, she had the right. It was a right to either walk out or disagree at that moment. But hopefully, we get into the nitty gritty of it, and folks can kind of educate us on why some are feeling the way they feel about her decision. I would have done the same thing. If I don't feel comfortable hearing what you're talking about me at your party, if it's your birthday party, you're celebrating your birthday, you invite me to your birthday party, but then you're throwing shades at me, I think I am at liberty to walk and leave you with your celebration and not be a part of the entire process because I don't want to be humiliated while you're celebrating your birthday, even though I was invited. So to some extent, I can see why that would have been the case for her to take her exit in addition to her dedication, just walk off easily and say, you guys continue with your celebration. There was no form of, ruling on anybody's right. They were left to do what they wanted to do. But let's see if we can take some calls while we are here, while the rest of the guys are coming through, and then we'll give a few minutes to the folks from back home. Let's take at least about 5 or 6 calls. Give the other panelists extra time to come through while we are acknowledging those of you that are joining us from far and near. Esther Clark, happy Independence Day to you. Elvis Morris, welcome to the show. Happy Independence Day to you. Daba St. Tia, again, happy Independence Day to you. Ronaldo Dole, happy Independence Day to you. Joseph Johnson III, happy Independence Day. And of course, the man Prince M. Dober himself is in the building tonight. Happy Independence Day to all of you that are joining us on this special Independence Day celebration, far and near. Let's take some calls, please.
Okay, Lofa, thanks. So if you are just joining us, this is the closing argument. You can put your calls in on 0777-285-961, 0777-285-961 to tell us how you spend your Independence Day in Liberia. So you can go ahead, Lofa, as we pick up the call.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have caller on the line there.
Go ahead.
Hello, caller. Hello? Yeah, Nime, what do you call from?
John start calling from Marshall.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thank God for friend of our life to be 177 years in Nigeria. We are very happy and obviously happy with all of our people living in Nigeria. Because
Wow. We lost that caller. So you can put your calls in 0777-285-961, 0777-285-961 to be a part of the closing argument. Yes, you are saying something, Lofa. You can go ahead.
Well, I was gonna go to
Sis Great.
We have caller on the line.
Caller, go ahead.
Hello. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nime, where
hello?
do you call from?
I'm calling Crown Bagger District 3
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I thank God for what you have done for us to see the day on July 26th, the Independence Day. My name is Peter Snow
Okay, he said where you call from?
from Compound 3, Pastor Connect.
Okay, thank you for being part. Okay, so you can put your calls in 0777-285-961, 0777-285-961. Here, you're part of the closing argument here. So the lines are activated 0777-285-961. Yeah, you can go ahead. We have caller. We'll let you know.
Okay, and those of you in the diaspora, if you're interested in joining the conversation, the number to dial is 919-234-6828. 919-234-6828. That is the number to call. Do you want to say something before we get to the next segment of the conversation today?
So we have someone on the line.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello, caller. Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
Yeah, I'm Brother Lam Blambo calling from the Boston Project region.
Okay, go ahead. You listen to the conversation.
Yeah, I've heard everything. I just want to give God glory for today, able to celebrate our 177 years of independence. And we give God glory to every Liberian who celebrated the day in a fruitful way. That is not the end, and I know God will give us more years to celebrate our independence. In Jesus' name.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Hello, caller.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
okay, I'm Joel Scott Money, calling you from Salaland, West Bomani.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to be grateful to the Almighty God I was able to live to celebrate the 177 years of Liberia. Even though where we Liberians expect Liberians to be, we have not reached to that. But we pray that one day is our leader, people that are serving in government, and they can travel to go in other countries and see what other people are progressively developing their country. They're going to grab the mind that we are suffering Mama Liberia. They may change their pattern of enriching themselves, and they will think about the country first.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so to be a part, you can dial 0777 285961 0777 285961 to be a part of the closing argument here. We have someone on the line. Hello, caller. Hey, where do you call from?
This is Mohammed Ali, somewhere calling from Kubota, Bon Country.
Okay, go ahead.
Today we are celebrating our day. We thank God for everybody. Some get accident today and they get the hospital. But we are praying for our leader to change because it's our time in the country too much.
Wow.
Some people that Russia are set up, they forget in the order. So we are praying that they will change so the country can go forward and everything can be fine for.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hello, caller. Hello?
Let's do one more.
Hello?
Let's take one more call and then we'll get to the
You lost
panelists.
that caller. So you can put your calls in
Let's
0777
take one more call, okay?
5961 to be a part of the closing argument. How you spend your Independence Day here in Liberia, and tell us what you experienced from this day and what you hope Liberia will become for the next independence. So you can put your calls in 0777 285961 0777 285961. So you can go ahead in the meantime.
Okay, let's get into the conversation due to time constraints. So we can get the panelists because they're already here. Let's start the conversation. Put the calls on hold for now. We will give the audience the opportunity to call back once our panelists have exhausted what we're talking about. So let's welcome Chairman Ben Sanvee. Happy Independence Day to you and your household. Welcome to the show, as well as our brother Gabriel Carter. Welcome to the show, both of you guys. Ben, we'll start with your Happy Independence Day. What do you make of this special day? Is it special to you, first of all? And
Why are you asking me if it's special to me?
Why can't I ask if it's not? Because you're American.
No, I'm not an American. Anyway, it is special. It is special. We congratulate and we say happy birthday to Liberia, to the government and all of our people back home. We extend our happy 26th to them. And we pray that as we get older, as everybody get older, it's just like a child, right? When you get older, you tend to get better. It seems like we have a problem with getting better as we get older, but we're hoping that we will break the mold at some point. But yeah, it's a great day. It's I did watch the Independence Day celebration. We extend happy Independence Day to the president, the vice president, to the entire government, and the people of our country. And we pray for God's blessings and His grace on the nation as we celebrate another year as a nation. Regardless of what we go through as a society, we want to thank God for just giving us the opportunity to see another year as a nation. And we just say, it's a good day. It's a good day, regardless of all of the noise and everything that has happened. It's still a good day, and it's a good day to be a Liberian.
All right, we'll bring Mr. Carter in, and right after Mr. Carter, I'm gonna read out a few points from the the orientation to date. But
Lofa, are you hosting today?
yeah,
Damn it, there you go.
what happened?
It's okay. It's okay.
You hosted yesterday. I didn't cry.
No, I know. I would just be easy. I know because you're playing for me. You are planning for me, so it's okay.
You know what? Carter, go ahead, brother. Let me, Ben is trying to do everything to break me. You know what? All right. I will allow Grace to just moderate today. So
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Grace West. At least you would be easy. Grace West. Yeah. Go ahead.
Brother Carter. Let's hear it for you.
Ours. What
No,
you did
you're
to
not.
us yesterday on the Lofa tea, what they serve me today.
Thank you. I have your approval, right? Thank you. That's all I wanted. Done deal.
No problem.
Brother Carter, go ahead, bro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me here. I think this is probably my second time or third time on the show. And again, thank you for inviting me. I think hopefully we can have a good discussion about the Independence Day, what it means for us here in the diaspora, and also for those in Liberia as well. But I think what we need to focus on more is basically the speech that was given today. There was a lot of context in that speech that was historical, and it brought us back to the reality. And I think we need to, be able to dissect that and really give context to what Dr. Piley was trying to say as well. So I'm looking forward to having a good discussion about that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Sis Grace, unless you have anything to add, we will read portions of the oration, and then we'll open up the conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I would like to welcome Mr. Carter on the platform since he's a guest panelist. Right. We appreciate you coming here to talk with us tonight. And I also like to say that we did the program today for the independence, especially what he said. We need to really look into that speech and talk about it. And we really admire how the program was really organized. I would say that. And I'm looking forward to discussing this.
Thank you. So we will read key points and not the entire speech. Okay. Few things that were taken into consideration, and some points that made the headlines today. You are a true Liberian if you consistently contribute to socio-economic transformation of our country. Legislators must change, the monthly wage from $143 to $250 United States dollars to at least provide decent work law in adherence to the decent work law and reverse the harmonization policy. I called on you, Mr. President, withdraw the nomination of Jonathan Massacre, who was appointed as head of the War and Economic Crimes Court. Truth be told, the United States of America has taken more from us than we have received. Liberia is nobody's stepchild. Dignity should define us as a country. And finally, lawmakers. Some of you have already started complaining about 2029. I urge you to stop now. Stop grandstanding on social media. I urge you to do the work for the Liberian people. They will decide whether to retain you or not. Reduce your salary by 20%. Look, I want to read this part again. This is my favorite part of this entire speech, right? Because when I read it, I just think about Darius DeLorme and other people. But let me read this part again. Lawmakers, some of you have already started complaining about 2029. I urge you to stop now. Stop grandstanding on social media. I urge you to do the work for the Liberian people. They will decide whether to retain you or not. Reduce your salary by 20%. And I would say 50% if I were in her shoes. But she said 20%. To President Boakai, I know many people complain about inviting me to serve as a national orator. They told you that the little girl got a sharp mouth, but I didn't listen to them. The Liberian people elected you, President Boakai, to rescue them and work on achieving results. Okay, key point. Do you want to be remembered for being lawless or undermining the rules of law? A case study of the yellow machine, I ask you to correct this before you lose the confidence of the people. Now, I want us to highlight a specific part of this entire speech. The oration, per my view, was great. Key points were taken here. Considering where we are in our history, I think it was a great oration, great presentation, and the entire event was just wonderful. She did a great job, a wonderful job. But my only
Excuse me, are we still on Facebook?
yes, we are. What happened?
I just got an alert that said we're not on Facebook, but anyway, just check it out. I don't know.
All right, guys, go ahead. Can one of you guys take over?
We are. I just saw it. We are.
We are.
We still on?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Lofa.
Okay, that's good. My question here is the part of the speech that spoke of the United States gaining more from Liberia, and not giving much. It's my only concern. We have a country that is literally clouded with a bunch of corrupt lawbreakers, as she referenced in her deliberation. She referenced them as lawbreakers. Okay, I was very proud when she used my word. I was very excited. I was hoping she would use politician too. But lawbreakers, as we reference them, the likes of Darius DeLone and other people who came to power with $3 in his pocket, today is an overnight millionaire. Darius DeLone. Was that as a result of the United States intervention, or was that as a result of the United States refusal to see the need for one to understand that his people need more than he as an individual? Madam Yombli Kanga Lawrence served in the government for several years. The people of Grand Bassa continue to live in abject poverty while she lived luxuriously here in the United States and back home. Is that as the result of the United States refusal to give back to Liberia? Your lawmakers, and as we refer to them, lawbreakers, continue to impede on the rights of the people. Is that as a result of the United States refusal to contribute to Liberia? Let's get into the conversation, folks. Personally, I think, from my view, the speech was great, but just that little part that makes it a little bit controversial, and we can talk about that. Let's start with Grace. Grace, what do you make of the entire speech and everything else that is sounding with it?
Well, I want to congratulate the lady for, being chosen in the first place. I know there was connection there because I heard Darius posted that she is related to him. So I know she had that connection there. And Darius is getting a lot of things, or a lot of things done for him in this government. I mean, so you know that he plays a major role because his sister-in-law is education minister. Now the orator is related to him. So then one of his drivers or something was hired for some position. So, I mean, people will now know that Darius Dillon has a major take in this government. But let's just move away from that and come to the real problem here. I think she did a very good job. She came from an activism point of view. And, for our country, especially where we are right now, I thought that, she was going to be whole, a little bit whole with everything, but not too much beating on every last thing she beat on, especially when it came to the Americans. The Americans have been very good to Liberians, and I would disagree with her on that point that Liberia took way more from America. America took way more from Liberia than we are taking from them. That's not true because during the war, Americans, although we wanted them to be there more than they were, but they were there. So and most times Liberians want too much than people can give. But the Americans were there. They paid for ECOWAS to be able to come to our country for so many years. You got to remember, ECOWAS, they just left when Ellen Johnson was leaving power. So they were there all that time. And who do you think were paying all that money for them to be there? And with all the different reliefs and everything, you cannot take away from the Americans when it comes to that Liberia. Although we think we need more from them, but they are giving what they can give because the more they give, the more the politicians steal the money. The country is corrupt. So you cannot see what they're giving because our leaders don't allow us to see those things because they take everything for themselves and don't look at the poor people where the poor people come, they're suffering. But, all in all, I think the speech was great. One of the things that struck me the most, and I hate divisiveness when it comes to Liberia because diversity built America. We want to model after America and everything, but we don't model after that diversity. There is no real, total American that live in this country except for the Indians. So they welcome everybody, and that's how people build America on their backs to make this country the greatest country in the world. But we don't want to embrace our diversity in Liberia. We are different kind of people in Liberia. We are all mixed set of people. But what did she learn when she said that they should have said the love of liberty united us here? The love of liberty did not unite us in Liberia. The love of liberty brought us to Liberia. We have to understand. Joseph Jenkins Roberts, who was the first president of Liberia, was not the first forefather. It was his great-grandparents that was taken from Africa to be brought to America. And he, as a grandchild, found himself back to Liberia after he worked for his freedom to be back to Liberia. That land was bought by the ACS for the American Liberians to establish a country that is named Liberia today. So we cannot take that away and we say the love of liberty united us here. Although all the different people that went to Liberia came from different walks of life. In Africa, they were taken from different places, but when they got together, they became one. And when they went to Liberia, the love of liberty took them there. So we don't want that kind of divisiveness in our country because right now in Liberia, most Liberians feel that the American Liberians, which we refer to as the Congo people, don't belong in that country. And it's so bad. And I heard Representative Briggs came on. She was very upset because the way the representative of the Americans walk out of the place. But you have to understand where your right starts, that's where somebody's right ends. So although you have freedom of speech to speak anything you want to, the woman to have the freedom to get up and say, you know what, I came to your party, I'm not going to accept this, and so I will get up and leave. There was no noise there. They got up quietly and they left. But we don't want that divisiveness in our country. When Representative D said that they should even, I think she said they should change the seal, then she was repeating the same thing the orator said. I don't think we should be talking about these things now. Just how the cool people got it right to be in Liberia. And the Grober people and the Pele people, the Congo people too have the right to be in Liberia. And if we want to say more than we can say, they even have more rights because that land was bought. If you go back to history and you read books, you will know. I have a book here that I'm reading. So we need to stop. For Liberia to become herself, we have to embrace our diversity. That the Kelebekus, they are Liberians. They are Akolasi, although their father is a Ghanaian, their mother is they are Liberians. The Corinthians, they are Liberians, although their father is a Ghanaian, but once their mother is a Liberian, it made in Liberia. So I wanted to just stress on that part. That's the part that really just turned me off a little bit. But I think she did a beautiful job, from her activism point of view, and she brought what she had to bring. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to St. Tomalin George, Ben Sanvee, and then Mr. Carter. St. Tomalin, you listed key points from the deliberation today. The speech, as it is being referenced, was great. What's your take on it?
Okay. First of all, let me say this. Let me give a context. Liberia is America is the highest contributor to Liberia in terms of direct foreign support. The highest. In fact, since the Civil War, America has invested over $2.4 billion into Liberia. Prior to the 1980 coup, we were among the 10 recipients of America aid, top recipient of aid for America. In fact, during the 1980 rule of Samuel Doe, they gave Liberia $500 million. Wow. Okay. Today, Liberia's biggest partner when it comes to international partners is the U.S. And today we have a debt of $2.03 billion. With all of that said, now somebody said that had what happened today in Liberia, had it taken place in places like Rwanda or other places, but now they would have summoned the ambassador already, summoned the ambassador to the foreign ministry. But I told them, I said, listen, Liberia, we have not reached that stage like Rwanda, other countries. They can sit and say they can say America get out of our face because they know what they're depending on. But Liberia, we're in a different situation. The speech was nothing I guess said today that wasn't true. Everything she said was on point. Now the question is, in fact, the guy even said in her speech. Now the question people were asking whether it was done with the acquiescence of the Boga administration for the fact that she said she won Boga, then she said, well, the people said you shouldn't allow me to come and speak. Well, I shut mouth and I will say some things. And then furthermore, there's a video that you see the video where when she was attacking the U.S., the president was nodding his head in perhaps to say in agreement. Okay, I think that's the video here. Perhaps in agreement to what she was saying. Now, I will say this: many people are not aware. Most of the people that you see attacking today, because recently there were a lot of people who were denied visas to come to America, and they are the ones who you see attacking for the fact that Liberian communities invited some of our officials to come and be guest speakers to the 26 programs in the States, and most of them. They didn't get a visa, so they are pissed.
Tell me, can bring it. I'll call names.
Well, it's up to you. I'm not calling names. You're calling names, but so as a result, most of them have taken up that stand. But I felt that personally, our national program, our Independence Day, yes, people should not talk about freedom and rights. She was in her capacity as the Charge Affairs, not in her capacity as Christiana Rodriguez. She was there as the representative of the U.S. government. So she wasn't there as an individual to say, oh, the her right to work. No, I disagree. She was there as the top U.S. diplomat in Liberia. So for her to walk out of our national program was disrespectful. And that's what I said. And there was somebody people saying, had it been like one of these countries I call like the guys in Mali, Burkina Faso, they would have summoned banana to the embassy, to the foreign minister today. But let's see what will the Liberian government do. They asked the Minister of Information, he said, oh, her position is not our position. What she said is not our position. She spoke on her own. They distance herself from her. So the issue now, let's see what will happen. But I can tell you, it's a serious rift between the U.S. embassy in Liberia and the Liberian government. So for now, I would just say, Americans have done more for Liberia, it's true, but most of the things they have done for Liberia, the money have been misused, mismanaged, and today people have gone with impunity. No one in jail today in Liberia for all the money that they have messed with. No one in jail. All Americans do to us, sanction our officials. All they have done, sanction our officials. And I can tell you, just how they start issuing denial of visa to Boga people, maybe the next thing they'll do by the summer, we're hearing sanctions coming on most of them too. Because all the things are happening, the poor guy got the facts. So for now, I'll just say, look, we're in a very difficult situation. And Liberia, I want to see how we're going to react. Perhaps Ben Sanvee, they've been on the lines all day. Maybe they've been trying to to stop things from happening. But Ben, this time around, nothing's gonna happen. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. We're watching it. So Ben, all your calls, I got your call logged, Ben. So
well, first of all, let me disagree with you vehemently. Okay. And go on the record and disagree with you vehemently. I don't think it was disrespectful. I think the ambassador, the chargé, acting ambassador, whatever her title is. Listen, this is what the United States does. This is what, look, they do it all the time at the UN. All the time. If they feel that a particular nation or a particular representative of a nation is attacking them, especially unfairly, I will add, this was an unfair attack on the United States. Let's call a spade a spade. It was a fair attack. This notion that we think, first of all, America doesn't owe us anything. They don't owe us anything. We need to get that. Maybe we as Liberians need to get that in our head, that they don't owe us anything. Diplomacy is based on interests, shared interests. America seeks her interests. It is incumbent upon Liberia to seek her interests. So this notion that the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires should have sat and listened to our national orator, who, by the way, spoke very well. I have a great amount of respect for Raptel. She's a great friend and sister of mine, right? I did send her a message congratulating her on her oration. But I vehemently disagree with the component of her making it appear like the United States government has or the people of the United States, because let's not forget that every dry copper that goes to Liberia comes from taxpayers that some of you are paying in this country. The fact that you expect them to sit and listen to a diatribe of one of us saying something that is not the fact. You said it, Tomalin. America is our largest bilateral donor, whatever you want to say. They don't owe us anything. We need to exemplify patriotism and start doing the things that we need to do so we don't have to keep begging the Americans. That we don't have to. Listen, he who pays, what is this thing? What it says? He who pays, there's something called the piper or something. Something. I forgot that slogan. And this notion that they don't have to listen. They didn't even have to attend the program. They didn't have to. Yes, they were invited. But I think this notion that Liberians have, look, whether we like it or not, as long as we are aid dependent.
1 minute, Ben. He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you, my Gracie. Thank you. He who pays, say it again, please. Say it again. Say it.
He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You expect our number one ally, our bilateral traditional ally. You just had a minister in the government the other day saying that he's a Russian tree and he's trying to see another person, right? This is foolishness. Look, I don't agree with everything Raptel said today. There's some structural things that I think she was a little off tangent, right? Because we have this superficial belief about what Liberia should be, which is well within our right. We all have the capacity to dream and to think about the Liberia we want to see. We all do. We all do. But this notion that a nation that have built us out over and over and over and over should sit and listen to us lecture them, and then what? Tomorrow we expect that they will build us out again? Come on, guys. Come on. What the United States has done for Liberia, there are thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Liberians in this country today. I just saw a release from the White House the other day with the president extending DED. Some of the people who making the loud mouth and running their mouths on Facebook, they're on DED. You want to talk about America? Go back home. Go back home and try making them look. Let me say this, and I will end on this note. I do not subscribe to the slavery mentality, but if you put yourself in a position of being a slave, you will get that treatment. America deals with tons of countries. Look at the Israelis. Look at Israel, the relationship between Israel and America. I asked the other day on this very show, what do we do in this country to foster our relationship so that it's more of a partnership rather than a small brother and a big brother or steppa, stepman, and steppa? Tomalin, I disagree with you. It was not disrespectful. She did not have to listen to it. And in fact, I saw the statement from the U.S. Embassy. I thought it was even more. I thought it was even nice.
Can you read the statement from the embassy, please?
The statement, we'll read it. We'll read it. But let me finish my thought. The statement, I think, was even nice. These people have been there for us. And I think what we need to do, I say we need to piss America behind. What I'm saying is, we won't talk about sovereignty. We won't talk about sovereignty when we can't even feed ourselves. Is it America's responsibility that we can't feed ourselves? Is it America's responsibility that we have corruption thriving in our country? Is it America's responsibility that we have a government that is not answerable to the people? Is it America's responsibility that we got elected officials who make promises that they don't keep?
Thank you.
Please, spare me with that. Look, I will say this. Whether we like it or not, until we get to a point where we say to America, we don't need you, we don't have the right to stand up and make it look like, what has America gotten from Liberia? I heard her say, America has gotten more out of this relationship than America has got. Are you kidding me?
Oh, rubber.
What rubber?
Where rubber?
Send 9.6.
Please allow Ben to land. Please allow Ben to land.
No, I rest for now.
We'll get you into the exchange.
He's doing anything on purpose. He's trying to check me off balance. So I rest for now. Go ahead.
All right, let's hear from Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter, what is your reaction?
I'm glad Rabo come with different points. So I like that.
Again, I thank you guys for inviting me here. I read the entire speech. I didn't have the time to listen to it, so I read it. I think that was probably the best oration that we've had, maybe ever, right? She articulated a lot of things from the country historical standpoint to its current reality, right? I think if you look at if you listen to what she read, we're taking things out of context, right? To a point. From the beginning, she talked about, I think she was trying to strengthen the minds of Liberians. She talked about the fight our forefathers had, of how they were able to gain sovereignty, that they fought tooth and nails against everything that was happening on the continent from a colonial standpoint. And they were able to hold on to that sovereignty that got us here today, right? So someone like myself, when I read that, it gives me strength that there is hope, that against all odds that is happening in our country, that there are people who were able to fight, and that the fact that we're here today, we should continue in that fight. That's what I got from the beginning, right? And then she go on and talked about dignity, about giving Liberian people dignity. She talks about equality, inequity, meaning that we don't have those things today. And I think that's when she mentioned some of the lawmakers that are breaking the laws who are being corrupt, right? She even went as far to talk about one of my favorite things, industrializing the country so that every Liberian in our country can have a stake in our country, right? So I think this is where she brought in her economic background to look at the country for what it is and what it could aspire to be, right? The part where she talked about we are no longer a stepchild to any country. Listen, as somebody, I absolutely agree with her. And I will give you this as an analogy. You have a child. When that child reaches 18, you raise them until they reach 18. Once they become an adult, you let them go and make mistakes. Of course, you advise them, right? But they will still make mistakes. That's how they learn to become a child on their own and become an adult. Mm-hmm. If we reach that stage as a country, we no longer need to be a stepchild or some kind of infant to a child anymore. Yes, you can call your parent for advice, But all the advice they're giving you, that doesn't mean it applied to the lifestyle you're living right now. Some of those things, maybe 75% of it are garbage. Only 25% will apply because of the era you're in. So when she talked about the stepchild, that's how I look at it. You should no longer be beholden to this ideology that we have a country that is, looking over us like some kind of overlords that controls us. No, we're a sovereign nation, and she talked about that, and we need to take on that mantle and look at the fight our forefathers had to continue fighting, right? She talked about the and the this thing you guys keep talking about, the yellow machines, again, holding this government to an account of what it is, because the moment you start making mistakes, the next administration that will come in, they will do the same thing, because the previous administration did the same thing. I'm allowed to do it. We continue to hear it in this current administration nowadays. So for me, overall, I think the speech was brilliant. Yes, I understand America doesn't owe us anything. And I will say this, I don't like to talk too much. I will say this quickly and I will end. What baffles me is that most Liberians that talk about, why we should hold on to our history, why we should learn about the history, why we should understand our history and should never forget it, do not understand or have never read the true history of our country. Read Neil Hahn's book on 2 centuries of U.S. operation in Liberia. You read that book, if you and go back and read Dr. Pali's speech, read Greg Whitman's Rubber Empire. Now, after that, go to the University of Indiana archive and read what they have on Liberia. If you don't cry and come back and read that and read her speech, you want to have a different reaction to it. I will pay you for that, right? So I will say this again. Go back and there's an entire collection written by Dr. Patrick Burroughs, right, on the history of Liberia. All of those, read those. Now come back from that, go read Dr. Pali's oration. You will understand the context from which she was speaking, and you will understand how she translated that to the actual reality that we're facing today. And she painted also the country that we need to aspire to, right? Let me say this one last thing and I will end quickly. I promise you guys. When the war ended, when we fought that war, when the war ended, do you know every country, all the major countries put money together, exactly what is happening right now in Ukraine? There's a reconstruction bank that is being built for $400 billion to reconstruct Ukraine after the war. Do you know the same thing was proposed in Liberia? Do you know who stopped that? Do you know who stopped that? Do you know where that money was funding through? Right? I will say this. I will give you another example. In addition, in addition to that, right? In addition to that, not only was that stopped, it was funded through NGO. This is why you saw the proliferation of NGOs in Liberia. So we were never able to materialize. Yes, I understand we have our own corruption and fights and in corruption that is plaguing us in our country. But I would say this lastly. You and I cannot be fighting and somebody else come in and spit on us, and then we continue. And we need to take side and say, listen, you don't spit on any of us. This is our home. This is what happened with the charge d'affaires today. I don't care whatever sentiment you're having about a country or what I'm saying. The fact that you brought yourself, this is a sovereign nation. Until we start seeing ourselves as that, we will continue to have these kind of things happening to us. You hold people to account that.
Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second.
Let me land, Ben. Let me land. You hold people to account who disrespect you, and that will set the example of how to achieve. I don't care if somebody is feeding you through the hands of God. They have no right to disrespect you. I understand we have our issues, but they have no right to disrespect you.
But quickly,
guys, hold on one second. Hold on one second, guys. Let's do this.
Quickly,
hold on one second, please. One second. Let's acknowledge Robert, because he just joined us, and bring Robert on, and then I'll give you the opportunity to respond. Robert, go ahead. Let's hear your response or your reaction to the speech delivered today.
Thank you, Lofa. I appreciate that. I enjoy how you hosting this show. Really enjoy. But listen, it's that I came on with this Carter. Welcome to.
Is it just me or Robert's breaking?
Yeah, Robert, what happened? You Maria?
No, I'm yeah. Am I? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Now
okay.
we can hear you, but initially you were breaking in. But go ahead, try it again.
Thank you. But Mr. Carter, welcome.
You won't go in and come back?
Welcome.
Sorry.
What?
The way Lofa Julius dressed tonight, you are the earring orator.
Thank you.
Damn it.
but let me say this. I think you but you're in mind.
So Robert, you need to
Robert, you having issues. Yo. Yeah, I told you to go in and come back. You said no.
Yeah. Okay. Why did I want to this guy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lofa, please, I want you to read this. You see what happened a few minutes ago?
Okay.
Because the American Charge Affairs know what she did was wrong. Yeah, updated the website with a statement. Look what the statement just came out with.
Okay. What are you talking about, Tommy?
Does it mean that she said it?
No, read the statement.
That's the statement I'm alluding to. The false statement.
Ben, she just came out with a statement.
Tommy, the statement
came out first, Ben.
What statement you talking about? You talking about the 3 paragraphs?
The one that just issued.
That's the one I'm alluding to, where she talks about the fact that they've given $100+ million a year, right? You know what I'm talking about?
63 million.
Because you know, but read it to the end.
Lofa, I beg you. Lofa, I beg you. I want to get some, and I disagree with.
Go ahead, Ben. I'll give you Ben. Let me give you a minute, 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you. I disagree with Gabriel and Tomalin on this thing. Right? First of all, you say, you can't let somebody can disrespect you in your house and sovereignty, and they were supposed to open industrial park, and that America stop you from opening industrial park. That's America stop you from opening industrial park. My issue here is this: I am not talking about Raptel. Look, 90-something% of Raptel's speech I loved. We're talking about this portion that she indicted the U.S. pretty much saying that, in a nutshell, that Liberia is where Liberia is because we America's stepchild, and they have gotten more from us than we have gotten from them. And I disagree with that. The reason I say that is because we play this victim thing. We have this thing about us that we always play victim, right? We want to have our cake and eat it. Some of the structural things that are wrong with Liberia, we don't need America to fix it. Some of the structural things that we need to work on, we don't need America to fix it. We need to go about fixing it, and we will not have anybody lecturing to us. We won't. But this notion, the context of Raptel's statement was that America has gotten more from Liberia than Liberia has gotten from America. And that is factually untrue.
That's not true.
It's not true. And that she needs to clarify. And that statement the U.S. Embassy issue, I think it's a nice statement. Because what she's saying is, she was exercising, Jaha Raptel was exercising her right to speak. She didn't say she was wrong. She didn't say she was wrong.
You say she's wrong, but
she said just how Raptel is exercising her right to speak. The United States, remember, she represents the United States government. The United States government is not going to sit and listen to a lecture that is not correct. It was inaccurate. The portion of her talking about America was inaccurate. And we all know it was inaccurate. There's nothing that was disrespectful about what the United States Charge d'Affaires did. She just did not want to hear it because at the end of the day, it was not correct. She didn't, the American Charge d'Affaires couldn't get up and defend America. She couldn't. She couldn't tell America, hey, that thing you're talking not correct. So how do you do that? I don't want to hear it.
Thank you, Ben.
Look, can I have 30 seconds?
Toga, welcome to the show. Yes, sis Grace, and then we'll go back to Robert. Grace, go ahead.
I just want to say 30 seconds to Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter, I heard you say that concerning Liberian history, it cannot be changed. So we all, it's good that you're telling people to go and look at it, but Liberian history remains the same. Secondly, the reason why they took that money and gave it to NGOs to go to Liberia, because Liberians cannot handle that kind of money. The people had to go through other people to be able to assist us because all the money they have given Liberia so far is in your lawmaker in pocket, in the houses here in America, in the houses.
You went off, Grace.
Grace, you muted yourself.
Grace, you muted yourself.
You heard the last part?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. All the money that I just was all the money. Thank God they did not give that lump sum of money to go rebuild Liberia because it was not going to be done. It was going to be worse. 163 million a year. Liberia don't have anything to show. After that debt was erased, they're still in the old or something $1 billion.
Billion, 2.03.
Thank you. That's what I want to say, Mr. Carter.
All right. Toga, welcome to the show. Let's start with Robert again, and then
Thank
we'll
you.
go
Thank
to
you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Carter. We'll go to Mr. Carter to respond to the comment or statement that was made regarding this. Robert, let's hear from you.
Ben defended
Thank you. Ben, are the Shashi calling you?
Thank you. You must be calling me.
Yeah, defend the blue ball now.
Yeah, the Shashi calling Ben.
Guys, let's be allowed Robert to contribute.
Thank you. So as I was saying, I welcome to the show, Mr. Carter. I think this is our first interaction, but you made an analogy about when a child grows, right, and that child no longer should be seen as a stepchild, right? I just want to say this: the age of a child, right, step or biological, still makes that child a child to his parents, right? And I don't think that analogy fits Liberia in this instance, right? But since you use that analogy, let me just go a step further. If I was raised by my parents and I'm 18 and I'm 21, the expectation is at 18 years old, I should know exactly what I want to do with my life. Do I want to go to college? Do I want to earn a bachelor's degree? Do I need a master's degree? What are my interests? And I developed that with the help of my parents, right? But I should know exactly what I want to do. And then I'm 21, 22. If I want to college, and every year I'm supposed to graduate from college, but at the end, at the fourth year, I drop out. And then the next 4 years come, I'm still dropping out every year. I want you to tell me, how is that my parents' fault? If my parents have given me the foundation to be anything that I want to become in life, and even as an adult, I have not exemplified or conducted myself as an adult. Because remember now, the age of a man or woman does not make them grown. It's what they do, the decisions that they make is what makes them grown. Their responsibilities is what make them grown. And so if you're 45 years old, and I know a lot of 45 years old American friends that still live in their parents' basement, if you're 45-year-old and you should have your own family, you should now be the father or the mother to kids who are your responsibility, and you continue to live in your parents' basement, even though they've welcomed you into their basement, and you have no self-goal, you have no ambition, you don't know your left and right, and even at your grown age, you still allow your parents and your mom and your dad to tell you what and what not to do, even when you're married. Your mother still insists and dictate to what you do with your wife, how you conduct yourself, how you run your house. How is that your parents' fault? How is that your parents' fault? At the end of the day, how you allow people to treat you reflects your own self-value. What you allow people to do, how you allow people to treat you. If a woman allowed a man to beat her left and right, guess what? That's what she's allowed. And if you allow an abuser to abuse you, he or she will abuse you. And so this whole thing about Liberia should, and I'm glad you used the word should, but what should be happening is not what's happening. Have we as a country, as a sovereign country, have we conducted ourselves as an independent country? Or have we continued to be dependent on other countries? Ben mentioned something very profound. We are still talking after 100 and something years as Africa's oldest independent. We are still discussing on being food security. We cannot even decide whether or not we sell rice locally, since rice is our staple food, or do we depend on people who don't even eat rice to import rice in our country? We still don't know what we want in a leader, which is a reflection of the leaders we elect. We still don't know what we want. We are still being hand-fed. We are still sucking titties. You can't be a 45-year-old man and depend on your mom's breast milk to survive. I mean, you can't do that. When babies 2-3 years are no longer sucking breast milk. So again, how do you blame America for your inability to conduct yourself as an adult? How would you blame your parent, even after all of the investment in you, after all they've done to make sure that at your age you should be independent, you should be making sound decisions, a grown man decision, you continue to make decisions as if you are 5 years old? How do you blame America? We have not conducted ourselves as an independent sovereign nation. I've got to be honest with you. And so when the orator sits on that platform, instead of pointing finger, and I enjoy the fact that you said something about the government. This is what we should be discussing. What was said about the government and the lack of leadership? What was said about the government and the blatant violation of laws in our country? Yeah. What was said about the government on their message of change, and they've got elected, and in 6 months they continue to do worse than what they criticize? What was said about our lawmakers who, even in this economy, continue to take home huge amounts, continue to get themselves all of these pays, when 85% of the people cannot even feed themselves? What was said about them? This is a strategy. The reason why the United Party boards wants us to focus on what was said by the U.S. is because they want this to be a discourse as to what we should be discussing here. And what I want to discuss here is what was said by this government and their inability and their failure so far. And I thought she was bold in that. But the fact of the matter is, Liberia have not given America anything more than America has given us. America has invested over 2.4 billion since the civil crisis in 2011. In 2005, what have changed? What tangibles have we seen in our country? We're still arguing about electricity. We're still talking about clean drinking water in our country. We're talking about all of these serious issues. Ghana is moving forward. Kenya is moving forward. All of our neighbors are moving forward. 170-something years, and we are still discussing whether or not we want to be an adult or we still want to be a kid. So then, how do you blame America? Last on the note, and then Lofa will land here. I think we should take responsibilities. And the fact that we are pointing fingers rather than taking responsibility reflects how childish we are. Because a grown man and a grown woman take responsibility. You have to do a self-analysis. You have to self-reflect and say, look, have we done well by our people? Have we done well by ourselves? Have we done well by our country? And have we been patriotic enough? The answer to that is a resounding no, we have not. And if you continue to blame the United States rather than take responsibility, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when I'm 75 years old, we will continue this conversation and we'll have another orator who will continue to blame our country rather than take responsibility. We must take responsibility as a country. Liberia has done nothing for themselves. And until we put on our big girls and our big man pants and boxers on and start to lead like other countries, stop blaming the United States. I am for America and I will defend America.
Thank you, Robert. Let's go. Before we go to Alex, let's give Mr. Carter the opportunity to respond to a couple of the statement made directed at him regarding his view, and then we'll go to Toga.
Please, thank you.
Go ahead.
And I think again, we keep focusing on one aspect of the speech. Yes, that was the one that pissed everybody off. I understand we in America, we have the right to do that, right? The speech wasn't just focused on America. She held the current government accountable as well, right? But I think everyone is taking this piece where she's focusing on America and making it a big deal. I would stand by what I said, and until what the references that I made to those books that I gave you guys, you can read it and come back to me, and then you talk about whether Liberia has given, the U.S. has given more to Liberia than Liberia has given to the U.S., then we can have that argument. I will give you some historical context, and I think sometimes in this conversation they're lacking. We talk about the first loan I was given to Liberia. I will be quick, Lofa. I talk fast, so I'll be very quick. Right? I'll be very quick. The first loan I was given to Liberia, 500,000. The second one, 1.7. Do you know the interest rate on that? I won't say that. Go do your history and read
Are
it.
you
Let
forced
me
to take
finish.
it?
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Guys,
Right?
let him land. Let him land.
Please, let's
Let
be
him.
civil
If
here.
there's
You
need
guys are
to,
speaking.
I will give
I
you the
held
opportunity
my
to respond.
peace. You can
All
respond.
right,
Right?
all right, Gabriel. All right, Gabriel.
We fast forward to the PL 480, right? What was the 440 million that was given? That's supposed to make us right sufficient and full security. And yes, we blew that. It was under the auspices of this current president who's in charge. This is why all the trips he's making, they're not trying to give him a penny because they know his history on that. We understand these things. I talked about the reconstruction fund that was set up that's supposed to go to Liberia and was funneled through NGOs. So I am not denying, and neither did the doctor deny the challenges that the country faced. She held both accountable. I was also give you context on the rubber. 86% of the rubber industry has been controlled by Firestone. You know how we call that in economics? That's monopoly. Meaning I can dictate the price you pay for your rubber. Because if you don't come to me, you cannot sell it anywhere else for the price you want, even the price you want it to be. There's a lot to look at, right? I said it. For those of you who think that the doctor holding US accountable, it paints a picture as if because Liberia is not doing what it's supposed to do. You and I are sitting here today. All of us are sitting here in the United States. We enjoy the Civil Rights Act. We enjoy Juneteenth holiday. We enjoy the freedom that the Black people in this country fought for. They continue to fight for that. As you see, you and I. Did they forget about the things that happened to them during slavery? No. They continue to remind them and fight for economic freedom. This is why you and I enjoy we sit here today. This is the same lens that the doctor was looking at to say, we know the things that happened to us throughout the economic. She was talking about the economic past of the country, right? I want to urge every one of you to continue to fight for this country. As I said, from the beginning of the speech to the middle of the speech and to the end of the speech, she held both accountable, right? We talked about the 2 point something billion dollar that we owe. All of that money didn't just come from the US alone. The IMF, the World Bank isn't just funded by the US and alone. There are other countries that are there, right? So I acknowledge the challenges that we have as a country as a result of the people that we elect, but you also have to understand the context of the historical past of that country, right? You cannot just come and take away and say, oh, forget about the historical past. You cannot continue to live. Yes, you remember your history. This is why, as I keep saying, this is why you and I are here. We enjoy the Civil Rights Act. The racism that we experience will continue. There are people that are continuing to fight for it today. And until we continue to take on that same ideology in Liberia, where we understand our past, but we continue to fight for economic freedom, regardless of who carry out those atrocities. Because I don't think most of you guys are aware the fact that we're even here to say Liberia, the U.S. has given more to Liberia. What is 100 and even if there were 3 billion, what is 300? What is 3 billion to a sovereign nation? Do you know the wealth in our country that was exploited from
But they
that?
didn't have to.
But
right?
they didn't have to.
They didn't have to, Rob and Gabriel.
That is the point that I'm making now, right? There was two parts to the speech, and I think you guys are being isolated.
Yeah, but we're not arguing.
Let me
We're
finish.
not arguing the other part, though.
Ben,
We're not
do
arguing
me a favor,
We're
Ben.
not arguing the other part.
the speech was
You talk about history.
Ben, guys, let's do this. Ben, let's not talk.
We're not arguing the
Let
other
him
part. You
land.
talk about history of us, even in this country. The history is not distorted.
Ben, do me a favor. Ben, let's not do this. Ben, I understand. Ben, let's do this. Let him land. When Toga comes through, I'll give you the opportunity
Let me land real quick.
I will give you the opportunity to respond.
The
Go
point that I
ahead,
was trying to
Carter.
make here, and I'll reiterate myself, is not the fact that the doctor is attacking one aspect of our history. She's attacking both and bringing everything into conclusion and painting a picture of where we aspire to be. You cannot take away and leave one part and attack one part and continue to focus on one part while disregarding your own history. We can hold all these ministers in the country accountable, but we still have to acknowledge the past of where we come from, so that way those in power cannot repeat those same mistakes of misusing any funds that we have coming in the country again. That's the part that I think we keep forgetting here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Let's bring in Toga, and then Ben and Robert appear to be anxious to respond, and I think Grace would like to. Then we'll give you guys at least about 45 seconds to respond to Gabriel. And if Timberlake wants to as well, we'll give you an opportunity to do that. Then we'll take few phone calls to get the people's
open discussion, right? Not rapid fire. That's not rapid fire.
Yeah, that's no. Ain't no rapid. Not right now. Not right now. Ain't no rapid.
Easier for Gabriel. You don't want to make this thing easier for Gabriel.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm moderating. Ben, I'm moderating. I'm moderating.
Lofa, it's okay. I know how to push my way in the crowd.
I'm hosting, so I can do what I do it now. I'm hosting.
You can do it.
I know how to push my way in the crowd, Lofa. It's okay.
You're not going to sit down and make it easier for Gabriel. The component that Gabriel is talking about, Raptel, they started that component. The fundamental basis on which she was even making those statements was flawed. That is the argument.
So Ben,
I'm enjoying Ben tonight. Ben, you are protected.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Okay. They will not have. All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Toga.
It's easier for Gabriel Carter here tonight.
Thank you.
You see what they're doing to me, right?
The dependency syndrome.
Thank you.
Everybody only accept themselves. Everybody only accept themselves.
Toga, please. Let's Toga go ahead.
Toga, go ahead.
Thank you. I mean, I see them giving Robert a lot of time. Where Robert talks for over 5 to 10 minutes on the show. When I get to talk, and everybody say I take all the time. Robert took 5 to 10 minutes.
Toga.
The just spoke before you came.
I know my time.
You know what happened? What will happen in Uganda today? Or
we'll focus on Liberia right now. We'll focus on Liberia right now.
Let me come in, please. Yes,
who knows? You know that?
Let me come in, please.
President of Grada, you see.
Hello, please.
Got a weak government power.
First of all, yeah, please. Thank you, man. Thank you, Robert, for protecting me. I'd like to commend Madame Raptel Paley, a Bassa woman, who today was very impressive. She brought proud to the motherland, and we as Bassa people are very happy.
Please don't speak for all Bassa men. Please.
Such splendid
don't
performance.
Speak for all Bazzolians, sir.
No. I'm a Bazzolian, but in the middle.
Please.
Robert,
let's not do this.
Please.
Let the man land.
As a Bassa man, don't say as Bassa
very.
But he cannot speak.
Very.
I don't need visa to
Yeah, look for the man. Can't speak for all Bassa people. I'm a Bassa man.
Yeah, why it is true that he can't do that? It is his opportunity.
Wait, when he finished, you can push back on
always address it after war.
Okay,
let us not interrupt in the middle of his
chiefs,
Go ahead, Robert.
The chiefs, the Zeus, the elders, and the bodios of Bassa have asked me to send this message.
No, I will not stay on the platform like you said yesterday to Martin. I will not stay on the platform and you mislead the public.
You cannot say
that.
You never cross Abel. The highest you go to Abel that will be to Arai.
You know how many times I've been to Grand Bassa?
You never cross. I'm talking to you, Grace. I said Robert has never crossed Abel.
Guys.
So when I say
all right. Toga, I think you're taking away from it.
The man talking about. The man talking about.
I ain't even say nothing here. You're hijacking me.
Lofa. The man
but Tomalin, let the man land.
Okay, let him or what? I will not speak.
The man
Can I finish my thoughts, brother? Why you hijacking me like this? The chiefs, the Zeus, the elders, and the bodios of the Bassa land have given me a message that we're very proud of our daughter, Raptel Paley, for a splendid presentation today. The motherland is very happy. Her presentation was well on course, and we are all very grateful. That name, Nije, she stood up to the name.
Yes.
She stood up to Niger.
So that history lesson on you.
So we're happy as Bassa people. All right. Now let me come back to some of the issues because I know everybody training the whole US thing, and many of you, except for Gabriel, who's based in America, seem to be toting the American card. And my friend and brother Tomalin is trying to be in the middle, which is very good too. Yes, I agree with Raptel that America has benefited so much from Liberia than we've benefited from them. I agree with her. In fact, America dictates to everything we do in this country. Our democracy is under threat by America.
Do we not get visa to Kanye?
Please. I don't need visa to go to America. Whether I get it, I don't get it, I don't need to be there. The issue here is simple. Take, for example, we have Putu Iron Ore here. Putu Iron Ore paying 3 times more than any American firm here. Do you know why Putu was closed? Because it was considered a Russian firm. Today, Putu Iron Ore, all the owners of Putu are sanctioned. They cannot operate. Putu Iron Ore's entire investment in Liberia is up for sale. Thousands of people lost their job because America stood their ground that they don't want Putu in Liberia. And you say they've not benefited? These people know that many of the people who even operate in our government space, they come here, they steal from this country, and America is a safe haven for them. We got several cases like that. They go to America, they sit there, and nothing happens to them. Right here in Liberia, if you went for visa at the U.S. Embassy, the higher they will give you something like 3 months to a year. In America, no, please, Ben, let me talk.
They put visa there, right?
Ben,
you're gonna talk a long way.
Toga, I'm talking too long here.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege, Toga.
Guys, don't do this, Toga. Don't do this.
Gabriel said.
You don't do this.
No,
you don't do this.
Go ahead, Toga. Go ahead. I'll protect you.
You want me to leave visa? Then I'll come back to the rubber industry. They've controlled the industry for decades.
Who allowed them?
And in this country today, we cannot face one tire as a country. One.
So who stop you?
You see, this is the thing.
Because they control it. They determine that.
Who allowed them to control it?
Guys.
Am I the guest tonight? And I say, you ask me the question so I can answer.
All right, like Brother Carter said, right?
Toga, ask me the question so I can be answering.
Look,
Toga, go ahead. Close up on your point. Go ahead.
You gave Robert more than 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm talking now. You say I'm on close up.
No, all right, open up.
Let's be frank about this.
All right, open up, Toga.
You got a sachet affair that just not disrespected our country today, but disrespected the sub-region.
Look at Joe, sorry.
You have the former.
You're talking about sorry, you're not making. You can't make tire. You can't make tire.
Tomorrow morning, someone to the
prime minister. You had the former head of ECOWAS.
Someone to the prime minister.
You technically a gathering. And the Chache affair, not even the ambassador. She's there or 4th in rank at the U.S.
Embassy.
And she walked out of a gathering of our country. And you say, well, we must celebrate that. We got to stop this.
That what happened.
We have to stop this.
Let us stop it.
This is complete disrespect to our country. That woman should be expelled. She should be expelled.
If I in Uganda, I go get a Mali, then I get a person.
She should be expelled. I mean, even if she had done it and come back later on and say no, maybe, and there was some on issue. She went to run on some errand. But for her to even admit that she walked out of a gallery or such,
President Boyka instructed me for first to someone.
To even admit that she walked out. To even admit that she walked out, we can't try that thing in America. No Liberian can try that thing in America.
So
no, we got to stop. We are a sovereign nation. We are a sovereign nation. And I posted something in the chat room about Namibia. And that's some of the things that got the Americans to throw their wings in our
close on this note.
In Namibia, for example, the new president of Namibia has said clearly that if we are issuing visa or we have to go and seek visa to come to your country, to come to our country, you also got to go stay in the queue for visa.
We
weak.
Okay. All right.
We are weak.
Toga, thank you. Thank you, Toga. I want to get Toga, thank you. Let me get Tomalin's view. I will open it. Let me get Tomalin's view.
Oh, yeah, see, Tomalin talking. Why you giving Tomalin tell us?
No, I know exactly what I know. No, you guys will not know.
Allow the moderator to moderate, guys.
Tomalin, let's hear from you. Go ahead, Tomalin.
The former Secretary of State for African Affairs, he confessed that Liberia and Israel are the two countries that are always backing the USA at the UN. Tell me, you know what it costs to be voting against the other countries, only for America at the United Nations? Look at the votes, look at the record. Liberia and Israel always backing the US.
So what?
Our vote, okay? Because of that, look, on a serious note, they always backing the US. Had it been in what we wanted today, had it been Mali, Burkina Faso, or Uganda today, they will order the foreign ministers, Madam Beslo, Madam Yanti, to somehow to the embassy at the foreign ministry and ask her why she just our country today. She was wrong.
Okay. So
Mali then.
Go ahead. Okay, Ben and Robert. Let's you guys want to turn this into a team fight.
Tomini George, Toga Blair, y'all move to Mali. Plain and simple. Y'all move to Mali. So now what y'all want to happen? Y'all move there. Y'all go, y'all got ECOWAS passport. Y'all can travel to Mali, free visa, y'all go live there. This notion that you're making a sovereignty and and this part to the other day. Look, we are a sovereign nation, true. But again, you guys are missing the crux of the issue, and I go right back again to what Gabriel was talking, which I disagree with. You talk about loans, you talk about reconstruction, and so and so. Look, whether we like it or not, we have been custodians of our destiny. We have painted this canvas that we are looking at today. We have. The Americans, look, when you talk about bilateral diplomacy, it's about interest. Maybe we need to get to the mentality where we understand if you want to deal with America as a partner, you come on the table as a partner. But this notion that, she didn't have to walk away. She could walk away if she wanted to. There's nothing about that. And guess what? If you felt you were disrespected, declare her persona non grata. You know why you can't declare her persona non grata? Because you're a nation of punks.
Okay.
Because you know why? You're depending on them.
Okay.
You're depending on them because you want to be lazy. You're depending on them because you want their resources. You want their budgetary support. That is the reason why. And guess what? And guess what? Tommy, am I protected, Lofa?
You are protected. Go ahead.
Tommy, let him speak. Let him land.
He got to give me a chance to land.
Bling it tonight. Bling it tonight.
Thank you. Am I protected, Lofa? I need to know if I'm protected.
No, you're heavily protected. No, you're heavily protected.
I just want to know.
You're making some salient points. Sound.
Thank you. But again, like I said, you want to talk about sovereignty? Eh? Look, you can't have your cake and eat it, Toga. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't have your cake and eat it. You talk about Putu. You don't want the Americans to tell you accompany the Manaka, declare them persona non grata. Look, listen, that's not announce tomorrow that you're closing the U.S. embassy. Expel them. You know why you can't do it? Because again, you are punks. Because you don't want to get your house in order. You don't. You don't want to get your house in order. You want them to give you the taxpayers' money. You want to squander it. But then you also don't want them to talk about it. Again, my Gracie, what is that quote again? He who pays
the piper
plays the tunes, right? You don't want to sit down. You can't talk about Firestone and you facing bucket. That America business, you facing bucket in your country? That America?
Because our
you are a sovereign.
I will give you guys the opportunity. Guys, I will give you the opportunity to
because
engage.
Ben does not understand how
I will give you all the
He does not understand it at all.
When you went to negotiate,
I'm surprised that you don't even know that America controls how these things run around.
Listen,
You got allow him
You're
to
not
land.
moderating well.
Let's have a
when
civil
you
discussion.
went to negotiate, when you went to negotiate for Firestone, when you went to negotiate for Firestone, Toga, when you went to negotiate for Firestone, you are now a protectorate of the United Nations. You were not a protectorate of the United States. You were a sovereign country, borrowing your words. When you went, Totma was smoking a boom when you went to negotiate it. You were smoking a boom. That America forced Totma to sign 99 years? That America forced him? Just stop this thing. Grow some kahunas. Do right by your people. Do what you need to do. You will be able to stand up like Paul Kagame and tell the Americans, this is how I want these things to go. But you're not going to be sitting down asking them for peanuts, and then you tell them, you want to get up?
Look, can I come in, please? Thank you. Thank you. So let me say this. So let me say this.
Well, no, Robert, after Robert is you. After Robert is you, Chris.
Okay. So let me say this. And Ben Sanvee Ben Sanvee nailed it. But let me just say this though. Everything that I've heard so far is again an attempt to point fingers.
Thank you.
At another country who have helped us at the inception of Liberia's creation. You know what? I'm not a historian, but I'm not a fool either. So when the doctor, and I have tremendous respect for her, brilliant mind. And let me just say this, since I have the opportunity now and we're on national radio. My father is from Trade Town. And Toga, I have been to Liberia since 2005 and I have visited Trade Town and Grand Bassa County. Don't let this talking fool you. I'm a Bazolian. I'm a Bazolian by heart, and I have been accepted by all.
Don't let him take you. Don't let him take you.
Okay.
Where
so when you see on this platform, they say that the people of Grand Bassa, am I protected?
It's a strategy. It's a strategy by these neocons.
Where they get traitor in Bassa? Where?
Am I protected?
We got nothing got traitor in our place, brother.
I tell you it's a strategy.
Do your homework. But let me get back to the point.
Well, first of all, guys.
Let me get back to the point.
For the sake of our listening audience, it's okay for us to engage in a rapid fire, but let us deliver.
But there's no record traitor.
Let me go back to.
We can
come back to the We can come back to.
Go ahead, land on your point.
Thank you.
This grace.
Everything that I've heard so far.
Everything that
I've heard so far is again a grown man who have been fed when he was 3, 4, 5 years old, and even in his old age, when he's 50 years old, still expect his 110-year-old mother to continue to hand feed him. And because she refuses to do that, she's giving you all of the tools to be who you want to become. Because you refuse to grow up, now you want to blame her. You talk about Firestone and how the Americans control Firestone. Who allowed them to? Look at, I'll bring it home. Look at those concessions agreements that we signed just recently.
Mm-hmm.
Were they in the interest of our country? Were they in the interest of the masses? Or were they in the interest of a few politicians? You know what has killed us as a country? Greed and corruption. Look at how we killed and murdered each other. What does that have to do with it? Look at how we treat each other today. Are we our brothers' keepers? Look at how we treat foreigners. Can come to our country and they can pay us to go against our own brothers and our neighbors, and we will do it. Greed.
Thank you, Robert.
On the last note, please 30 seconds.
30
seconds on the last note. And when you question Liberia's America's support to Liberia, and because they officially recognized Liberian independence in 1862, like the former president Thomas Jefferson publicly supported the ACS. Publicly. James Madison publicly supported the ACS. They spent millions of dollars in funding the ACS before Liberia gained independence. Do you know how those folks got money to go and send chiefs and representatives back home? What have you given like America?
Thank you, Robert. Let's listen to Grace here. Grace, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. I mean, I understand the frustration with everybody, and then sometimes I'm the only female in the place right now. You know, you're let your testosterone just take all the play. You're yelling.
You're in the middle now.
Yeah. I just like terrified the way you're yelling and screaming and stuff like that. But I understand, and I would say again,
Sorry, Grace.
He who pays, thank you, Robert. He who pays the piper set the tune. If you got people, you asking them, your hand up every day begging, they will direct you what to do. They will tell you what to do. And you cannot blame them for that. You just cannot blame them for that. But I would like to say thank you for having me here tonight. I'm on my way to a Ludacris concert to go and have fun. But yes. And I'm gonna be in the backstage trying to take. I will send my pictures to you.
We'll put it out, Grace.
Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful time. And I like the argument given for coming on. And you'll have fun today.
You're going to
the pro-American troops are solid on the ground. Don't worry, you can go.
Okay, thank you.
Solid on the ground.
We will use local forces on there. Don't worry. By the time you come out, they won't exist anymore.
Okay.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you. Happy Independence Day. Enjoy your time, guys. Before we get to the next discussion point here, I feel like it wouldn't be fair if we had to read out the U.S. Embassy response to what we are discussing, and then we will open up the conversation for a quick rapid fire. All right, at least about a minute, 30 seconds or two, and then we open up the line to get the people's response or feedback. In light of recent event at the Liberian Independence Day celebration, the United States Embassy wishes to address concerns regarding Charge d'Affaires CDA Rodriguez's decision to leave the event. The United States and Liberia share a unique history and democratic values. Unfortunately, the national orator introduced divisive rhetorics and unfounded accusations. Key words.
Very unfounded.
All right. And I repeat, for the sake of, just highlighting. Unfortunately, the national orator introduced divisive rhetorics and unfounded accusations. The United States has a long history of providing foreign assistance amounting to at least $163 million annually. $163 million annually. Our taxes. Okay. This is separate from the United States government's contribution to several international organizations that also provides aid to the Liberian people. Additionally, numerous U.S. foundations, private American citizens, and non-governmental organizations are dedicated to uplifting Liberian people. Independence Day is a time for hope and unity. CDA Rodriguez's decision to walk out was a measured response to the orator's comments. Why the orator is entitled, okay, this is a key part of the statement.
Please read that again, Lofa. Please read that again. Entitled.
Okay. Well, Independence Day is a time for hope and unity. CDA Rodriguez's decision to walk out was a measured response to the orator's comments. Why the orator is entitled to freedom of speech, the CDA chose to exercise her right. Don't forget that. The CDA chose to exercise her right not to listen to such remark.
Thank you.
Okay. The United States remain a steadfast partner to Liberia, dedicated to fostering a positive and collaborative relationship based on shared values and mutual respect.
Thank you.
We look forward to continuing our work together now and in the future for the benefit of both nations. That is from the United States. Now, let's have this conversation. You heard their view as to why the decision was made to walk out. What are you complaining about? What are you supporting?
First of all, our independence is not just about hope and unity. Our independence is a time to reflect on the history of our country, the challenges, the progress, looking at all of the existing structures and how we fix these systems. It's not just about hope and unity. That's not what we have independence for. If it's about only hope and unity for which they can have the independent America in Liberia, that's not why we have independence. We need to understand this. I mean, we can just come and people be playing with words here, and people be playing with words here. Anytime I come in, y'all will be hijacking me. It's yeah, please.
Let me mute myself.
We can't be doing this to our country. All right. You know, similar situation. That's why you see in the sub-region, a lot of countries are now, I think we're getting into a new reawakening revolutionary state where people are trying to recapture their existence. It's taking a wave around the sub-region. The reason you see places like Malay, you see places like Niger, you see places like Burkina Faso taking a new trend in their existence. It's the same thing that's happening to Liberia. It's a new day. It's a new revolution that people have continuously milked us. They kept us in a state of decadence. They made us, and they put, in fact, that's what they're doing here. They put our own brothers against us because they keep them in America. And they do that to us. They use them to tear down the system.
That's true. Then Ramadan.
So this is the system we have. Pan-Africanism has not been thrown in the dustbin. The other day we're talking on the same show here about homosexuality, and many of you on the same platform were defending it.
Who defended homosexuality?
Many of you on the same platform were saying that you're human right, that people are human right. This is the new mindset that the Western people are putting in your minds.
Wow.
That is the situation we have here.
No, Philly,
that a Westerner, I'm not saying my agree with me, that the Westerners or Westerner will come. Look, let me tell you something. I disagree with President Bouaka on many occasions, but I can tell you one thing. The other day I was at some airport, and there was a debate that arose on something that somebody at the airport said about the president of my country, and I defended the president of my country.
Very well.
In the wake of all my disagreement I get with the country.
Patriot. You're a patriot.
I stood up for Bouaka.
You're nationalist.
Because I told them one thing. I will not stay here and you think you can protect your president, but you think you can disparage mine. It's not going to happen. Yeah, when I come home, me and Bouaka can clash. But when I in a foreign country, you will not try that thing.
Okay, you will land. Okay.
You will not. No, I'm finished.
Oh, okay.
You're always putting me up. Hold on.
Okay, talk.
And you understand? It will not happen. But for us to come here and one white woman come to our program.
One white woman.
Yeah, one white woman. I want to say it raw.
She's Hispanic. She's not white.
And you can't, yeah, whatever she is, that white woman. She come to our program in the midst of dignitaries. Our president, the former head of the ECOWAS, seated, and she walked out of them. And you say it's not an issue. And she come back and defending it. That she was right to walk out. This is completely wrong.
Toga, hold on 1 second. Let me ask a quick question, right? Would you have appreciated her decision to probably stand up and say, I disagree with your statement?
But why should she even stand up? Why?
So now, okay.
The thing is, let me speak.
Toga, hold on 1 second. Will you not consider the fact that she was incapacitated to respond in a way, so she just politely walked out?
She politely. She walked out and she even made a statement about her walk out. The thing about it is this. Was she the only person spoken about at the
Exactly.
You wanted everybody else to walk out from the program?
That was to their distraction.
I'm gonna give me chance, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, you confusing my thoughts when you interjecting like this.
Sorry, brother.
Was she the only person spoken about at the program?
No.
This lady criticized the legislature. She talked about the early canvassing, the unusual usage of resources to protect themselves. She called for reduction in the salary. She talked about corruption. She criticized Joseph Bouaka. She criticized our entire war and economic crime court procedure. They criticize Jonathan Massacre and say he was even hired by crooks. All the people who work out of the program, right?
These are paid employees of the Liberian people.
Please, man.
All right, let's get to Ben, and then
because anytime you're speaking, you will flow. Nobody can interject. But as soon as get on the floor, everybody will join in.
He's supposed to have the entire floor.
Ben, let me ask you a question.
No, because you can't get me chance, brother.
Let me ask you a question.
If I get 2 minutes, tell me say you get 2 minutes on the show.
Okay, your 2 minutes just your 2 minutes just ended.
Let me ask you a question.
Your 2 minutes just ended.
Coming in and everybody driving in and playing me, tossing me here and there. That's what you doing. Give me 10, brother.
You made good point. You made good points.
This lady spoke to all sectors of the country. All the people should have walked up in the mind of the Chachi affair from the embassy, because they spoke about the U.S. embassy, so she walked. So when the woman was criticizing the president will walk up. When the woman was criticizing the legislature, the speaker and the protesters also walk up. That's what we're saying here.
They are paid.
The same thing is happening in Senegal at the moment. The same thing. In fact, protests have begun in Senegal because there is a new and reawakening revolution. That many of the people who think they control our minds and our thinking in the region, they need to stop. They need to stop. And it also says, I agree with Ben on that one, that we need to get to a point where our government now needs to understand that, look, it's not about you, it's about us as a country. It's about our people. We need to start standing up to these people. You see, when you're talking on this, so then everybody worry. You will not get visa. That is the problem.
Toga, I would like to get
the problem we get.
Toga.
That's a question.
All right.
My question is to all you guys that are defending the Americans, defending the Rajugas. You think it is fair? It was right. We have Independence Day coming, right? So our official governments are being in the country to speak at the occasion and have the doctor to deny them visa. They're not going.
Okay.
Wait. They can make us stay here. They go back to their jobs. Okay, they come stay here, so they come stay here on American taxpayer money. They come for programs to celebrate with Liberian communities here, right? You deny them visa.
Let me finish.
So can I respond?
Let me just say this, right?
It's fair, right?
Tomalin, DeLon was told his visa provision was under administrative. That's not denial. So DeLon can go argue it. More Ali can go argue it.
For me, that's not even it.
Let DeLon go fight that. This is not something we should argue it. As a matter of fact, I wish it was denied.
So I want to answer Tomalin your question.
Okay, Ben, go ahead. Let me ask you a question. Answer.
Getting a visa to come to the United States is not your official's right.
Thank you.
It's not their right.
Let him go protest.
Listen, if you go, the reason you go to the embassy to ask for visa is because they're not your right. You need their permission.
It should be that way, Ben. Not how it was before.
But it's not your right.
You will be a peer.
It is not your right.
But Ben,
it is a privilege.
Are you defending Ben?
It is a privilege. It is a privilege to get granted a visa.
Ben, not when you official government, not when you official.
If the United States government don't want to admit no Liberian in the country, that they have the right to do it. They don't have to.
No, not the official government.
With you,
you're not here to stay. You stay here.
Tomalin George, coming to this country, they're not your officials. They're not the country.
They're not coming as private citizens. They come as in a capacity.
Okay, so do you know what it is? Tomalin George, deny American officials visa to go to Liberia.
Exactly.
It's
easy.
Simple.
Amen.
Deny them visa to.
Tomalin, you know the reason why DeLon is not speaking about this as vigorously as he should?
In diplomacy, you can reciprocate. If you get problem with it, you reciprocate. But again, like I said,
I know it wrong.
Judge, you know, like I said to you, the reason you can't reciprocate is because you can't do it.
Your visa don't worth nothing.
Exactly.
No, so, tomorrow you guys will be in let's allow Carter to chime in here, please.
I think we stayed. I think we stayed on the other side of the argument for too long. I want us to bring it on the other side.
We can talk about other part of the speech.
Yeah, but Carter, I
Right?
agree with you. I agree with you on that
Right.
part, right? Let me just throw this in, right? The
Right.
laws, the refusal or not refusal. Let us not term this as refusal, right?
Lofa, is
Well,
it
hold on.
true? Is it true that the law was
Yes, it was. Yes, it is true that the law was told.
How do we know?
Okay, it is not administrative.
How do we
Administrative
know, Lofa?
decision.
How do we know?
Because we have verified.
How?
We have
No,
verified the information.
Lofa. The U.S. government,
Okay,
the U.S. government.
Okay, this is my name as a
But
moderator.
the U.S.
I'm putting my
government
name
don't
on
speak
it.
on individual immigration issues.
Ben, I did not say Ben Sanvee. I said Abraham Darius DeLon was actually told his request for visa to the United States was put on administrative review. So what's the deal? Mo Ali was the same thing. So let's get to the conversation. Go ahead, Mr. Carter. I'm saying it. Lofa is the one saying it. So let me take responsibility for it. Go ahead, Mr. Carter.
So the other side of the argument that I want us to bring, I want us to, transition to. Ben, I do agree with you. The U.S. is a privilege for them to allow you in their country, as well as we have that privilege to allow them in our country as well. But I think and I'll keep saying that, I think we focus on one side of this argument. We take a snippet of that entire speech, which is her holding the U.S. accountable of taking so much from Liberia without getting so much, which is, again, I will stand by that 1000%. If you look at your history, once you read your history, you'll understand that. I'm not here to argue that side. I think we've done enough justice to that. The other side of the argument that I want us to bring, into context is she also held the government official accountable, right? When she reminded us of our forefathers, how they fought, for the sovereignty, and she talked about how the U.S. has taken so much from us, and she brought us to the transition in terms of what we should aspire to as a country or what the country should be, right? She talked about the industrialization of the country, why it should be industrialized, and how every Liberian in our country will benefit from it, right? I think we tend to glance over that part of it, right? She talks about dignity, meaning if we have, here's something I continue to say, and I will continue to say it. There is a common denominator between every one of us here on the show right now. One, we have a job, right? We have the ability to self-actualize, meaning if you make enough money, you're able to take care of your family, not just yourself, but your family, but also aspire to certain dreams and things you want to do, whether you want to do philanthropy. We have that as a common denominator. One of the things you talk about is dignity and inequity in Liberia. That is not true for every Liberian right now. Not every Liberian can come out of college right now like you and I, and they said, I'm going to go to the private sector and get a job, take care of myself, raise a family, and retire. They don't have that luxury. This is why you see the people older as you and I in Liberia pandering to politicians, because that is the only measure. And this is where she came into context and held those people accountable. She talked about the yellow machine, and she talked about the corruption in the country as well. I keep saying that my favorite part, which I think she kind of sounded more like Talbot, right, is to industrialize the country, meaning Talbot started that vision. I think I continue to tell people he was my favorite Liberian president because of the things that he wanted to do and the vision that he had for that country. And the same people that she held accountable that took him out because of that, because of the way he went about it. I'm not saying this. Go read your history. It is there. And this is the same vision she brought us to. She said, we want to industrialize this country. And I think this is where now we need to come from, that part of holding the U.S. accountable, to bring this government to account, to say, what are you going to do to industrialize it, right? As I will say this point, and I think Larry said he probably has a lot to say, right? I will say this point quickly and I will end. The PL 480, that 440 million that was given to Liberia back in the 80s, right? That's supposed to make us secure, right? And we had that breadbasket in Liberia where we misuse it under the guidance of this current president, right? Ever since then, there have been resources that were misused. And I think she alluded to some of that in the speeches, right? But I think we're taking an abstract of one of the part of the speech and then focusing on it, and we're arguing over it here. I think what we need to do as well is transition to the other side and say, we need to hold ourselves accountable in regards to what has happened to us as a people, and be able to build a country where every one of us can benefit. And the only way you can do that is to industrialize our country and be able to make a decision as a country of who you want to trade with without anybody being an overlord to telling you who you can trade with and who you cannot trade with. Thank you.
Lofa, I beg you, I have to run.
Can I come in? Ben, 1 second. Let me.
No, Rob, I beg you, I have to run. I have to run. So
Yeah, I told you that, Lofa.
I never
told you.
No, I know, Professor Kennedy, it's good to see you. I have to run. Listen, I have no disagreement with the other portion of her speech, right? I have to run. I have to go and go on a call with my American friends. So
I know my brother too well. I know my brother too well.
I wanted to make it very clear that there's a fierce disagreement had to do with that portion of the speech. But I thought she gave a brilliant speech overall, right? I thought she did what she had to do. I think she hit some of the main points. I think I said I have some structural disagreement, but it's not too much based on the notion. But I just wanted to say I have to jump on a call with my American friends. Tomalin knows that, so I will see you guys. I'll be listening.
Thank you.
All right,
let me say this. So before the professor coming, because I really want to hear his
welcome,
take.
Professor Larry.
I'm glad that he's but they give me 1 minute, then the professor can come in. And to Carter's point, and I agree with you on this. I concur, right? And I think this is the part of the speech that we should talk about. The part that holds our leaders accountable, the part that holds ourselves accountable, the part where we do a self-reflection and say, look, what have we done right? Have we squandered opportunities provided us as a country? You talk about the PL 180 and how that fund was supposed to have been used to secure us as far as food security is concerned. It was misused. And we can go on and on about funds and support that came from these United States to our leaders, and they did not use it in the interest of the people in the country. One last point I want to make, you talk about the fact that how college graduate cannot graduate and go out there in the private sector and find jobs. Who should we hold responsible for that? We should hold our leaders responsible for that. Look, the U.S. is not perfect. The U.S. is not perfect. The U.S. will always seek the U.S. interest like any other country. The question is, why are we not, as a sovereign nation, why do we not have our foreign policy structure in a way where it seeks our own interests? Every country must have an interest. Every country must bring something to the table. Every country must partner, right? To say, look, this is what I want from you. This is what you want from me. We are not foes. We are not, there's no bullet, a gun to our throat to always support everything America. I'm pro-America all day. But again, if something that the American support that does not reflect our core values as a country, I don't have to support that. When are we going to come together as a country? So look, we can disagree all day. Politically, tribally, we can disagree all day. But do we know as a country what brings us together? We see this, we see that in this country. We see that in another country. In our country, we don't know as a country what brings us together as a country. We've got to identify ourselves. We've got to know who we are as Liberians. And there's nothing that separates us. Our fierce disagreement politically must always be guarded by our shared interest in seeing our country move forward. As a country now, after 170-something years, we don't know that. And it boils down to the fact that our leaders have failed us. This is what we should focus on and not continue to point fingers at the Americans because they've done their part.
Professor talk.
All right, Professor Kennedy, let's hear from you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man, I've been following the program and it's been interesting. I've been thinking about this for such a long time. So here's the thing, right? I don't think you can have it both ways. When I say about having it both ways, you can't claim to have free will, meaning you make decisions for your country. So if I'm sending you 100 million, you're going to spend 100 million. Let's say 90% of that is going to go to recurrent expenditures. And let's say a good portion of that money that I'm sending you, not only is it going to go to recurrent expenditures, but you're going to end up stealing some of it. You can't also blame me for you deciding to steal the money that I'm sending you, then not put about 20% of that money into your educational system, because we know education is the key to change your economy, right? So you spend a lot of that money, doing those things that are keeping you poor, but yet you claim to be a sovereign nation. You can't have it both. But Toga's argument that there is an invincible hand that is manipulating us means we don't have free will. That means we're not sovereign. So you can't say you're free and sovereign at the same time say you're being manipulated by an invincible hand. Just doesn't make any sense. You can't straddle this argument. You either say you're free, not dependent on foreign aid, and you are making decisions that are benefiting your people, but you can't claim that there's an invincible hand manipulating you. You fail to realize that you are paying your senators and legislators a king ransom. They are making far more than legislators and senators in New York State that has twice your population. It is your choice. You, based on what's true happening in ECOWAS, you should be investing more than 10-15% of your GDP in education because, like Nelson Mandela said, education is the weapon we can use to change the world. You're not investing in education yet. Your poor school system is graduating students who are not equipped to change your direction. You can't blame the Americans when HPX comes in, give you about $500,000 in so-called development aid, and they're going to make about $10 billion off your iron ore. HPX is a private company. Why is HPX doing that? Because you simply don't have the people in place to do the feasibility study, know the value of your iron ore, and be able to do that so you can get the $10 billion rather than get $500 million from HPX. You don't understand that. So you can't say you're free and you're sovereign at the same time saying you're being manipulated by the Americans. So unless you decide to not become a spectator in your own economy, then you can claim that you're free and you're sovereign. So this whole blame game of the Americans, sure, I can flip the switch and I can blame the Americans for sending foreign aid, but at the same time sending NGOs to the country who are benefiting from the foreign aid because the money is coming right back to the US. Sure, we can have that argument. But bear in mind, when Samuel Twe and I think it's Gustav Flomo were trying at one time to figure out what is it the American NGOs are doing in Liberia, the Americans told them point blank, why are you guys checking on our NGOs? How do I know? I was in that meeting at the State Department. I'm not giving you hearsay. This was the one thing I saw Samuel Twe and Gus Flomo and his guys are trying to do to benefit the Liberian people. But the Americans, because they control their money, they said, no, we don't want you guys to do that. So I can give you both sides of the argument, but here's where I stand. Liberians have to take control of their direction. You have to get off foreign aid. When you get off foreign aid, then you can make the argument that when the CDA walks out of a meeting, you can make the argument that you don't want the CDA to come back. You know why? Because if the US were to hold aid, you don't care. you don't give a rat's head.
So how do we do that? How do we do that?
You change the direction of your economy. Number one, we have an economy that is based on extractive sectors. When Ebola hit in 2013, when Mittal Steel and all these companies left, your economy collapsed. You have to diversify the economy. So you cannot have an economy based on the extractive sectors. You have to let Liberians in the diaspora come and help invest in your country. Stop giving contracts to Ghanaians. Start giving contracts to Ugandans. Give the money to Liberian contractors. Chief, how many times have you seen on the Blue app our young Liberians, brothers and sisters graduating from schools here in the US with degrees, and you're like, wow, you get these young people back there, transfer their knowledge, do some of the contracts, the money stays in your economy. When you look at the central bank's website, when they publish the economic data, and you look at remittances leaving the country, sometimes the remittances leaving the country is higher than the money coming in. How is that possible?
Yep.
Because you have a lot of expats. You have a lot of foreign NGO workers going in, they're making the money and leaving it. Diversify your economy. Put money into construction. The young people do not have the technical know-how, but they have the manpower. They can start doing renovations, building new houses for Liberians who want to retire. Put money in construction. Diversify your economy. Agriculture is there. Stop bringing these companies there to come in. Oil palm. Look, iron ore is trading at such a high amount. It's ridiculous. Gold is trading at such a high amount. Oil palm. Everything in this world practically have palm oil in it. Even the orange soda you drink got palm oil in it. Why are we letting all these foreign companies come in there, do all this oil palm farm, make so much money, and we don't benefit from it? You got to diversify your economy. Change the amount of money you are putting into education. You can't have a minister who is the education minister and then got schools. And then he's siphoning off resources for his private school, or the health minister has hospitals and not enforcing the rules and siphoning off medical equipment. Former Ambassador Matthew McCarthy complained about that you have people who were stealing medical supplies sent over to the country for their own private use. You can't blame the Americans for Liberians not being patriotic and not looking after their own brothers and sisters and stealing the resources that being sent to them. I did a study on this thing for years. I even built a Power BI dashboard to look at the resources going to Liberia and see what's happening with the funds from the U.S. Look, don't take Larry Kennedy's word for it. Go on foreignassistance.gov, foreignassistance.gov, pull up Liberia, pull up, let's say, 10 years, see how much the U.S. government has sent. Go to USAID, the Development Experience Clearinghouse, the DEC, DEC. Do the same thing. You will see the data. America has sent billions to Liberia, and we have nothing to show for it except people stealing it, people building houses they can't explain how they got to it, people are doing asset declaration that makes no sense, people are living a lifestyle that they cannot account for how they get the money. The CDA can walk out anytime he or she wants. But when you're not beholden to the US, then it shouldn't matter. But you're beholden to the US. So if you try to do something stupid, they cut off the faucet to you, you're gonna end up in deep trouble because the people will start feeling it, they will run you out of office. So all that nonsense, people are beating their chest and saying, oh, we're a sovereign nation, this and that. No, you're not. You don't control your economy. And all these things saying, oh, the Americans are manipulating you. No, they're not manipulating you. They're sending you the money and you're stealing it. So, my man, look, I'm just giving you the facts. I like to use data. So, yeah, let me just say this last piece. Unless you can quantify what the orator means when the orator says that the U.S. have benefited more, quantify it, put it in numbers. I can put it in numbers, how much the U.S. have given to you. You put it in numbers, how much the U.S. have benefited. The U.S., not U.S. companies, not Asian companies, but the United States government has benefited because it's the United States government that is sending you money. You quantify, the man shaking his head. You know what I do for a living, Chief? The U.S. government, the State Department budget, look at it. You say it's in the State Department, right across the street from where I work. I'm not going to go into details. The U.S. is sending you the money. You tell me how much the U.S. is benefiting from you. Quantify it. Put it in dollars so we can do apples and apples. And then I would say, okay, you are being manipulated. Let Toga come in and let me hear his rebuttal.
Professor, I have a sweet and all amenities you need to cool your thirst. You just said so. Oh my God, I have a sweet for you.
Robert, hold up. Robert, hold on 1 second. Let's hear from Toga. Toga, let's hear from you, and then we'll go back. We'll go to Gabriel or Tomalin. Toga.
Thank you. Hello.
We can hear you, boss man.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead, Toga.
It is clear across the length and breadth of this place that America controls a lot of the happenings in this country. It is not about sovereignty or so forth, or because people squandering whatever. I agree. Even in the great United States, there's corruption. There's corruption all over. We can say corruption can only be attributed to Liberia. The problem we have is that America controls a lot of the ways things happen here. And you said it right, Professor. When you said even if you were a leader here and you don't accept their dictates, they will run you out of office. I know there were some people who even work in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's administration, and she said to them clearly, what America wants, they should get. When you hear about 66 Booker's agreement, it's because at the time what America wanted is what they got. You can't tell me that, for example, you have Putu Iron Ore, a Russian firm here, that was paying people more than 2 times their salary and they were ran out of here. You can't tell me. that was not the dictate of the United States. They opted for that. In fact, they sanctioned all the Russians in our company. Even when you're talking about the HPX, did you read Samuel Tuer's narration? He said it clearly. That part of the reason he was sanctioned was because he did not take a line of HPX. Yesterday, you were not on this show, but yesterday, I read a narrative on Washington Post where they were clearly talking about how sanction is evolving in Africa and getting multinationals to become millionaires overnight. It's a whole lobbying thing. If they want certain things from you and you don't take the trend, they go right there and they lobby for sanction against you, and you are done. And what happens? We, the sea Liberians, we come and we celebrate. We celebrate. Today, if they were just to put somebody on sanction, the sea Liberians would be celebrating. Yeah, that mean I road. Why they put you on the sanction? It's true. It's true. That's the part of our sovereignty that is missing. We don't know where we belong as a people. We don't know where we stand as a people. We are puppets. It comes from the top down. Why you think today? You think France is still in? In fact, France is appealing now to Burkina Faso to still have a stand in their givings. Why? Because Burkina Faso stood up to them. Today, Burkina Faso is doing far better than France were controlling the narrative in their country. It's a fact.
Toga, explain how is the U.S. manipulating the HPX deal? Just how? Just don't go anywhere off. Tell the people, how did the U.S. manipulate the HPX deal?
In addition to that, though, Toga, for the sake of not to take much of your time, can you quantify the benefits? All right, on both sides. That's just I just want to know that for the sake of just my own understanding. Let's quantify when we speak to the benefits. Let's quantify that part of it, if you don't mind.
So
I want you to first answer how the U.S. is manipulating the HPX
I told
deal.
you before.
Me too.
I told you earlier on. If you wanted to make me guess on the show tonight,
please,
just tell me.
You deviated from the question. I appreciate you going
all
on
the
the
questions
tangent,
to me.
but stick to the question.
I'm
The
answering
question
those
is
questions.
how.
But let me come in from here.
Okay, how?
Yeah, the first and foremost thing, we all know where the HPS stuff coming. Using the railroad into Liberia, coming through Guinea. We know that for a fact. We know that has been completely all souls to metal. HPS wants to fit in that middle by August. They're under pressure from the Guinean government. The Guinean government is a radical dictatorial regime. And they are telling them, if you don't start shipping your iron ore through a means, you might very soon be losing your rights here. They're doing everything to come into Liberian shows. In fact, it's even my understanding, the whole yellow machine thing is even coming out of the same HPS. They just passing through as South African. They still want to have a stake here. And so at the end,
you don't know how they're manipulating
it.
it.
I don't have to answer exactly as you want, Professor. But this is what I know. I think what I'm explaining about HPS, you know that is a fact. You know what HPS wants in Liberia. You know what HPS contributed to our budget on Samuel Tuer. You know Samuel Tuer mentioned in his letter when he was sanctioned that HPS was one of those companies that lobbied against him in the United States to get sanctioned. Why are they doing this?
Can I explain to Toga how the HPX deal works?
People being sanctioned because HPS then lobbying for them to be sanctioned. Is that fair?
Professor, if you will, please allow me. Toga,
is that even fair to us?
All right, Toga, let's bring Carter in, and then Professor, I'll let you to explain that HPX deal, please. Let's hear from Carter on
this. Thank you again, Lofa, and Professor Larry. Thank you for stating. I in some aspect of what you said, I do agree with you in terms of the country not being able to hold itself accountable in terms of the influx of capital into Liberia, where we have nothing to show for it. But in terms of the
the equation in terms of what goes into Liberia and what comes out, what Liberia has given to the states, I think you're looking at it in one direction, which is money that flows in, as opposed to looking at it in a holistic standpoint, meaning the deals, the influence that they have in certain companies that makes up the collective that they back, because of the Western influence. HPX is a Western country, a Western company. You stated that we were getting, millions, and they were getting over 10 billion. What they were going to make out of that, right? HPS, I think from my research, is a Canadian, part Canadian, part US country. The same thing goes for the oil blocks. When we had those oil blocks, right? The French country. Now you look into Liberia, where there's no total gas station there, right? There used to be total gas station. Do you know who influenced the French gas stations from getting out of there? And we brought a US company in, the United States. Let me tell you how complex that is. I read one of
the
transaction, right? I read one of the agreement. The deal was structured in a way that literally, excuse me for using the term, we were, manhandled as a country or raped, meaning there was a parent country registered in the US and they had a subsidiary in Liberia, right? The agreement was between the subsidiary in Liberia with the government of Liberia, but the subsidiary in Liberia was paying management fee to the parent company in the United States. Let me tell you how like when you call corruption on the part of US is. So if the subsidiary of the US company in Liberia mine $100 worth of minerals, they will have to pay $50 management fee to the parent company in US. So the only stake that the government of Liberia and the Liberian people can collect taxes on are the $50, right? That deal, some of those deals were so bad that some of the investors had to exit them because they knew they were not getting anything. Those are some of the things we talk. And those oil blocks were worth billions of Liberians' money, resources. We can take it back to, for people that grew up in the 80s and 90s, in the 70s and 60s, when Lemco, all those construction companies, mining company were there. The same thing. Now, I'm not going to take away from the fact that the little bit of pennies we collected were misused, or the fact that the US were providing resources and we misuse them. I'm not going to take away from that. But in terms of that equation, if the quantification, we can quantify it, and like you cannot even compare it, right? In terms of comparison, you cannot even compare the kind of resources we lost. And I would say there's one point, and I will end. It's not just the quantification of just the money aspect. You look at the socio-economic part of it as well. The lives that Liberians would have led, the level of education they would have had, right? Yes, we have a lot of mismanagement in our country, but had we gotten our fair share of the resources we had in our country, we would have been a lot better off than we are today. I'm not saying there wouldn't be any corruption. There were corruption. There is still corruption. There is still going to be corruption. But the quantification in terms of the resources, I think we're looking at it from one lens, which is the direct capital, but we're leaving the other influential part of it, which is the way those deals were structured. I'll leave it on that. Thank you.
So, Professor Larry, we will take you, and then we'll open up the phone lines. Ansu, can you get ready? Let's go ahead, Professor Larry.
Let me say this because it's important for Toga to understand this HPX thing, and for Liberian people to understand it, why it's not so much of the US, but it's more of our government, and it's more of the Guinean government that is being ripped off, right? Let me explain the HPX thing and put it in layman language. Imagine we have Ansu, we have Robert, we have Chief Tomalin. You guys are interested in doing some mining in Liberia. What you would do is, I'm walking you step by step how HPX did it. You go and you have an engagement with a investment banker on Wall Street. So HPX did that. They went on Wall Street, got an investment banker, and said, we need to raise capital to do mining in Africa. The firm found some venture capitalists. They found some other investors. They raised all this money that HPX needed as a down payment for the what's the Nimba the Wolokisi on the Guinean side. They raised the money. They went to Wall Street and they raised the money using the contract that they have for that piece of over in Guinea. After raising the money, the investors felt that, hey, this is serious risk. What did HPX do? So now I got Lofa, I got Ansu, I got Toga. They now go over to the World Bank. The World Bank sells something called political risk insurance. Because we know government tend to take over other governments quickly in Africa, they purchase political risk insurance to guarantee the money so the investors don't lose their money. So the investors felt comfortable. HPX went, they took other people's money to purchase the rights to Wolokisi. I mean, they're not using the money. They purchase the rights of Wolokisi with other people's money. They go to the World Bank and buy insurance to guarantee the other people money. And it's only going to cost them a fraction of what they're going to make. Look at the price of iron ore and multiply it by how many tons HPX get to pull out of Ghana through, out of Guinea through Liberia. It turns out to be about 10 billion when they're done. And all they did is to use other people's money. That nonsense Samuel Twice saying he got sanctioned because he wouldn't go along with HP. That's nonsense. It has nothing to do with international banking, international finance. Liberia could have done the same thing. You don't have to do what HPX did. You can easily do it. Contact your folks over on Wall Street. I work in investment banking as a vice president for almost 30 years. I did this stuff every day, Toga. I know how HPX did it. Don't sit there and let Samuel Twice put out a narrative. That's nonsense. That's not how it works. Our government, with the right people in place, we can bring that benefit directly to Liberia in billions. People that are giving us like 500 million, maybe even a billion, and they're going to make 10 times that amount based on the price of iron ore right now. Do the math. So when we start blaming other people, that's because we don't know the details. We don't have the facts. You have to always start with a self-review, an reflection of yourself to understand that you have to be responsible for the actions you're taking. So empower Ansu, empower Robert, empower Lofa, set up the infrastructure, let them go and do this kind of investment and back them. That's how the US is doing it. Whether it's through the World Bank or through the DFC, the Development Finance Corporation, also sells the same type of insurance. How do I know? I've been chasing this thing for years, bro. This is not something I just read in some book somewhere. I've been living and practicing the things for years. That's how come I know. So don't buy that nonsense, Samuel Twice. Samuel Twice got sanctioned because he was corrupt as they come. Sorry, man.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm glad that you provided this free education for all of us on here. While the guys in studio, guys, I want us to take few calls and get the viewers' contribution here. I think Robert wanted to say something. All right, let's bring Robert. Robert, if you want to try me, let's use 30 seconds to hear from you, and then we'll open up the phone lines to get people's contribution here tonight. Folks, for those of you in the diaspora, the number to call I will post on here. Back home, the guys will post the number up. Go ahead, Robert.
You know, I won't say much, but you know, I like the professor. I like Professor Candidate because, you know, look at the caliber of folks on this platform. I'm listening to Gabriel. I this is my first time interacting with them, but he sounds like a very enlightened person, right? He knows what he's talking about. I don't agree with some of what he said, right? Look at the professor. Even look at Toga. I mean, and look at some of the most powerful voices in our country today. Lofa. Look at yourself. And we just don't seem to get it right. And people always say we don't have it. We're not getting it right because we don't have the intellectual, we don't have the professionals, we don't have the expertise. And I always say that's not true. Are we out there getting and basically getting the best out of our best and brightest? You mean to tell me that a man, the Professor Candidate, can succeed in this country? A foreigner, a man who, even though he speaks pretty well, but you can still hear his accent, like all of us. But he can succeed in this country. And I'm sure he has a team of hundreds of people, managers who were born here. had the foundation that he did not have. I'll speak for myself as a young man. I sit on executive tables and we make decisions. A young man. I came to this country when I was 13 years old, Lofa. So I didn't grow up here. If we can succeed here because we were given the opportunities and we seized the moment. Today in our country, the ambassador for tourism is a guy who has absolutely, and I did not want to say this, but I would, who has absolutely the knowledge on what tourism actually, the essence of tourism, right? But only because he's well connected. This is what we find ourselves. So our problem again, Lofa, it's not about the Americans. I think it's a distraction tactic. It's about ourselves. And it's not like I disagree with what Toga is saying, but I want us to turn to ourselves and really do a self-evaluation of ourselves. Have we done justice to ourselves, especially those who have been given the opportunity to serve? Have we done justice to our people? And by extension, have we done justice for our nation? And the answer is a reflection of where we find ourselves today. So again, until we start to get our acts together, until we start to say, look, we can disagree all day, but look, just because I disagree with Robert or Lofa doesn't mean that I cannot tap into what Lofa brings to the table. Look at your IT profession. Look at what you bring to the table. Lofa, our system can go down here. You can come here and put out. Do I always agree with you? No. But do I have to agree with you to acknowledge what you bring to the table? Absolutely not. We have not gotten to that point. And Liberia, we have been with our own problems. I don't want us to point fingers to the Americans. Look at ourselves and ask ourselves, and we must get our act together.
Good point. Ansu, any calls from back home? You're muted, boss man.
Let's
July 26th ain't easy on Ansu.
Catching that.
All right, so the number once was 0. Yeah.
Sorry, Ansu.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. So guys, for those of you in the
Go ahead.
You got a caller?
You got a caller? Yeah.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We're listening. Go ahead.
I just want to tell the Panelists the education, and I know they will keep it up for us. Like we have to learn from it, and we have to learn. I thank you. But I think you have to listen to all of them there. Thank you, guys.
All right, so let's get the line right to the next caller. Go ahead.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Achisino, commonly known as Ashapa. Yeah, I want to appreciate all the panelists on the show tonight, but I want to give special appreciation to my big brother, Toga Alexander Peter. Every one of you at the stadium point, Professor Larry laid the point down. These American people don't do what they preach all the time. We got to be fair on this. What the orator said today is 100% true, and every Liberian who know it. What America has got it from Liberia is 100 times the what Liberia got it from them. And there is no hearing about this. Everyone knows it. It is what I have to say, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
All right, so the line is active. The next caller, go ahead. Hello? Caller, are you there? So let's see. Keep the line rolling on 0777 285961. Other numbers for you to call 0777 285961. All right, so let's try Julius' line. Julius, can we try a line?
Well, yeah, my line is open. Nobody's calling on my line, so it's okay.
All right, so we get a caller here.
All right, go ahead.
Wait. I see him. My name is Abraham Newman. I have come from Crystal Police around in Habia.
Go ahead, Ibi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for the show. I really admire you people. You know, for me, I'm not one of the supporters of this government, but that orator, I really appreciate all for the original and secure on today. It is actually true America marketed this country, and in fact, there are a lot of discussion about America. Even a man in America called Louis Frank, and you listen to him carefully, you get to know that these things that the lady said, they are all factual. They have another one in Africa called Joshua Mapunga. Follow them, you see, and they are all true. They are all true that they are saying. They put deceiver in religion, in education, in everything. They deceive in everything. So they just bad as the party of running with their statements and preaching against the country to make the country to look bad. As before with the brother I said, something to a lie, it was not lie. It was wicked. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, guy. Do we have a caller there? 077-285-961. You're live. Go ahead.
Okay, brother. My name is Brother Eric Stewart. I'm calling from Jersey Road. I want to say hats off to you guys on the show there. And I want to say hats off to my brother Toga Biere. He's my brother, and then we will hear from Basa also. What Toga is saying there, brother, it is true. The American people will pay their money here, but they will send people to carry that money back. You see the Intel building here? We build our Intel building today. That building will not even be completed because no engineers, they will expect then they send back. They will pay no guys every week 30,000, 40,000. For the fact that it's $60,000. They were paying us $20 a day. At the end of the day, the project will not even finish today. See how the project looks like that? Anybody who gets to Boulevard, see every building. And how the American people tell us in the country. So they are not good to us. Why they give visa free to other countries in the other African countries? Look at Kenya and other countries around here. They give a visa free. They say they are far for us. Moral is far for us in Africa. But right here, when you go to the embassy, you can get somewhere to want to stay if you go for interview. Why do you see people like that? This is what I'm doing. But if you go to the girl coming here, what we got here? When you go there, even if you're hospital, they got somewhere to sit, and people will come around. They eat out with you. So don't sit here. What's that? What do you do like this? When you stay with our friends, brother, no matter you in America, said, don't be here. So you are already educated. You come in your country in Africa, you will be here. Yes, everyone making better than that.
Okay, caller. So let's just hold it. We're not going to keep you on too long. The line is very basic. We have so many people want to participate, so we're not just going to keep you on too long. Let's get to the line, pick the next caller. You're live. Go ahead.
Yeah. Calling from the Gashi community.
Emmanuel, go ahead.
Yeah, I said Mohammed.
Yeah, Mohammed, go ahead. And please be audible. You are too low, please.
For me, I will not believe the American people. Mention the being from the we will have known ourselves as in the family. Yeah, basically, some of this is about the carry on, and we are there. I don't know.
Yeah, you get it. Just be straight to your point, please. All right, thank you. Okay. We are the private, we ourselves the private Liberians are not the American. Thanks for participating. Do we have a caller? The caller, go ahead. You are live.
Let's take a couple more calls.
My name is Maxine J. Tati, and I call from Overcall this evening. My brother, everything I was said about the American today is fact. Because there are many things that we are overlooked. And today, but we ourselves are to be blamed because we notice ourselves to be American. When we get to the America, you see people lying down on the floor because of America. And people are here, they don't feel very good. Sometimes when they say $5, they say 5%. I happen to be an applicant of the army before. I know these guys, they send the people here and they took the very money that they were to spend behind the army and they carry it back. genre de film là bien happening. Le processus, il faut bien comprendre. September 1990, when the rich to Freeport was burnt and it's left in there, my brother, that I like that just to fight. And may God bless all. We have to stand as a nation to really know that God is the bearer, the third bearer of this country, and we'll go through. I thank you this evening.
Let's see whether we can go to Julox there to pick up. Do we have a call on the
answer. Yeah, we got callers.
Yeah, try to
Yeah,
put Julox shoe.
let's take this caller here. Caller 215. Last four is 3132. Your name and where you're calling from. Let's hear you. 45 seconds.
Yeah, quick couple of points, right? Good job, Professor. I used to make this same emotional argument when it came to America and their interest. Listen, America's interest is for the American people, and Liberian lawmakers supposed to take their interest and make it for the Liberian people and stuff like that. So this whole thing where America's supposed to kind of give us the fear, and stuff like that. Business is about making profit. So, and like what we're not there yet to be able to make these great deals. Countries, China was exploited, but what they did, they took it and they built a form, they were able to build the economy. Even though American companies were exploiting the people and stuff like that. So yeah, these companies are exploiting us, but at the same time, these lawmakers are taking this money and paying themselves with it. So the money is America is not our problem, it's the lawmakers. Those lawmakers, those ministers, and all the way to the executive, to the president. That's my real problem. I think everybody on the show knows this. So let's stop pointing this thing off. America should who I want here, and they say that whole battle I want. Stop.
Thank you.
Listen, they are our problem. So let's accept this thing first and say, you know what? We get the shot in on the stick. What do we do with it next? Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, brother. Let's take the next caller. 507-7118. Caller, your name and where you calling from.
Hi, brothers. This is Deputy calling from Minnesota.
Let's hear from you.
To add my points to what other callers have said, Liberia's problem is not America or any other country. Liberia's problem is itself. Liberia's problem is systemic. I think the orator missed an opportunity today to speak on 177 years of misjustice or maljustice and dysfunctional system that does not serve its own people. We got to clean our own eye first before we start pointing eyes at others. America will protect its own interests. When will Liberia or Liberia lawmakers or the government or Liberia protect Liberian people? Thank you.
Thank you, Decanty. I think that's what we'll have for the day. We'll cut it out here. We'll close the phone lines and give our closing comments for the night. Guys, Ansel, you can close the phone lines back home. Let's just take our parting comments for the night. Let's take the last caller. I'm sorry, guys. I wasn't able to close it before we did they come through? Caller, go ahead. Your name and where you calling from? Okay, I guess we didn't get them. There were a couple callers calling through here. I think I'm gonna shut the phone lines down now. All right. Yeah, Ansel, you can close the phone lines back home, and then they just close the conversation because I gotta go. Sorry, folks. We'll take a lot more calls. Again, the guys gotta go, so we hate to do this. So let us start. Robert, you've been here. I don't know, Robert, you're regular panelist. I will prefer if you stay and close the argument. Carter is our guest panelist, so I think we should start with Carter, and then we will go around the horn if that is okay. So Carter, let's hear from you. You heard the callers. Every one of us chimed in on the conversation. I mean, what's your take on it? Close the argument.
And again, thank you guys for inviting me here. I enjoyed the debate, the conversation. I think it was at times it got heated, but I think it was warranted. Again, I believe in civil discussion.
As the collision of thoughts is the advancement of knowledge. The more you disagree, somebody tests your own argument, it allows you to check your own understanding as well, and better, you know, make you a better, uh, learner, right? So I did enjoy the conversation. I think what I want to leave with is basically everything that I've said earlier. I think we got too sentimental and took the whole speech out of context. We focus on just one part of it, and I think if you look at the speech again, I'll remind people the doctors start with the fight of our forefathers, what they had to go through to maintain our sovereignty, even a time when they had nothing and all they had left was that little bit of fight in them, from the Firestone Agreement to literally where we almost became a U.S. protectorate. So she talked, I think that's the context she was coming from in terms of reminding us of our history. She also talked about dignity in Liberia. She talks about inequality, which is currently something we've continued to have, right? And she brought it home and even, I think, brought in her economic background and talked about industrializing the country, which I think every one of us could, and that was a picture she was painting that Liberia could aspire to, right? And here's what I want to leave with. In as much that I don't think we are where we need to be, I would say this again. Your history, knowing your history, knowing the actors in your history, not only allow you to hold yourself accountable, the people, those in it accountable, but also allow you to hold yourself accountable that those mistakes you made, whether someone's influenced it or not, so that you don't repeat it. I can't deny the contribution of the United States to Liberia, right? But I also know the historical context from which the doctor was speaking. And I think we got too hung up on that. But I think the picture that she painted and that I wanted to hone in on is a country that is industrialized. And we had a president who attempted to do that. A country where every Liberian can aspire to the dream to self-actualize as a human being. I said it before and I'll say it again. The common denominator between you and I, everyone on here, is that we have a source of income. We have a life. We can take care of our family. We can aspire to greater things, right? And even start nonprofit if we wanted to. That isn't the case for many Liberians at all. There's a fraction of the people in government who are benefiting from that. And she talked about that by holding the government accountable. She calling them out on their corruption, how they shouldn't be stealing. She talked about the yellow machine to bring the president to an account, that you should not paint that kind of, you should not make that kind of mistake, but hold yourself to the law, right? So if we continue to go back to this narrative that, this is just, we're not just going back to say this is just the US fault. We know the historical context you're coming from. We hold them accountable, but we'll also do a self-reflection to say that we're partly to blame as well. So look at the conversation in a collective sense and be able to reflect on it as a whole, as opposed to just taking a piece of it and running with it. That's what I wanted to leave with. Again, thank you guys for having me here. I think this was a great discussion and I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carter. We hope that you will make this a home. Like we always encourage every Liberian, every professional to be a part of the closing argument. Make this a home. Be a part of the opportunity to educate other Liberians and hopefully learn a thing or two, because this is what the closing argument is about. Going forward, transformation for Mama Liberia. Due to the fact that Toga is in Liberia, and due to the fact that the issue of electricity and everything, so I would like to take Toga to go next, and hopefully he can take on the professor for everything he stated earlier. Toga,
Toga, can you? But Lofa, can Toga stay before my closing? I want to point something out. Can Toga stay? Toga, can you stay?
Yeah, are you gonna? You just want to
Of
point
course,
something?
when I get through speaking, I can stay. It doesn't matter.
Please stay. Thank you. Go ahead.
What
are you worried about?
Lofa,
hold on one second.
I want to I want to set the record straight on national TV.
I'm not in Toga's pocket. You asking me whether Toga can stay? That's on Toga's pockets.
Toga can stay. Don't worry, my brother. We can send you data. Don't worry.
I'm just messing with you.
Well, thank you, man. But let me tell you something. You see, when the course shifted to Lofa, bulk of the folks based in America who are American citizens,
oh Lord,
we definitely shift the discussion. It's clear. When it comes home to Liberia, our people see America differently. That means America has to shift her policy in Liberia. America will have to reshift the way she's doing things in Liberia. The uneasiness about America is growing at home. Similar things happen in Niger. Similar things happen in Burkina Faso. Similar things happen in Senegal. When you see a place that has been your traditional ally, when people start to have when disenchantment begin to grow about you, it means you must shift something. America has to shift the way they do things in Liberia. It is not just about the statement made today by Robert Pele. It is a growing concern. When Edwin Snow raised the issue the other day, and he said, in fact, they have Americans here and they're watching us, and all they want to do here, they want to censure us. If they want to censure me, I'm prepared for them to censure me, but I want to say this. Liberians spin that for more than 2 months. Most Liberians, if you do your survey, agree with Edwin Snow's assumption at the time. America has to shift the way she gets things done. Why should a traditional ally be here? But it takes Indians to start thinking about the end product of rubber in Liberia. That the Indians are coming to start facing rubber ditches and rubber pen and rubber discs in Liberia. The Indians, not the Americans, they've been here for over 100 years. Firestone have been here. What do? They take the rubber and they shift it somewhere and they send the end products to us for us to buy exorbitantly. And you say they've done nothing. You say they've not benefited. They benefited in billions. Let's be frank about this. Why should it take the Indians to face as common as nails in Liberia, to face zinc in Liberia? But we take all the iron ore, and where do we shift it? Bulk of them go to Europe and America. And cars and other things are produced, and they are brought back to us. In fact, they are brought back to us used. And you say, what do America benefit? They benefit billions. Let's be frank about this. This is a growing call. It's not starting with Reptile. It is not. It is a growing concern amongst Liberians. Go to the U.S. embassy. Liberians have to stand under the ring. They pay $150 to $200 US, and they stand under the ring, and they get denied daily. And whether that money is given back to them or not, America got no concern. Nothing. When the legislators raise that, what happens? They get sanctioned. We have to change the narrative. America has to change her approach to Liberia. It has to change.
Toga, I'm sorry, just for clarity's sake, did you say legislators or legislators?
I said legislators.
Oh, I thought you said
legislators.
Sorry. I thought you said
I said legislators. And because of the same thing, even the thing we many times we talk about, everybody is concerned. Everybody is concerned about how much a lawmaker makes in Liberia, for example. I mean, I pity these guys sometimes. As an ordinary Liberian citizen, just for this 26, I spent over nothing less than 150 to 200,000 Liberian. I mean, just to give arms to people. I visited a lawmaker the other day. He spent over $1 million. He was going to his district. I went to see him. He brought up a list. He showed me a list of people. And you say, no, you can't hold the Americans responsible.
How does...
No, let me tell you how. Because if you had a company and if Firestone was now making the emperor of rubber, you will hire more Liberians. You will. So don't say it's not important. If Firestone were facing plastic chair, if Firestone were facing rubber bucket, you will hire more Liberians. The reason the population is stranded is because these emperors are not being made here. If Metal Steel were facing cars in Liberia, you will hire more people. Let's be frank about this. You don't have to agree with me. But we are suffering. Liberians are suffering. It's not because you sit in America. America has to change your approach to this country. You don't have to agree with me. You don't. It's a sad reality. It's a sad reality. That people sit here, they sit in abject poverty. The emperor, all the raw materials are taken out of here. Before I close, I worked with the Ebola time. The Ebola time, I was HR assistant to the Buchanan Ebola treatment unit. I saw records of Americans that came here to work, and like some of the callers said, yes, the least an American citizen at the Buchanan ETU was earning was around $20,000 US. As somebody who was HR, I was not making more than $1,500 US. It's sad reality. What do we say here? Yes, they bring us arms. The money goes back. In any American firm, whether it's USA or so, every 3 months they go on hour and hour. I think they call it rest and recreation, and you must choose the country of your choice. Liberians don't get hour and hour. Liberians go nowhere.
That's a snatch of.
No, please.
But
let me think about this. You don't have to agree with me.
Toga, you're gonna have to land.
Okay, let me land. Let me land so I can
make my closing and then head out.
America, all I'm saying is a growing concern. This is how it started with countries like Senegal, with Mali, with Niger, with Burkina Faso. When you see your allies begin to raise concern, when you see growing calls for Liberians about the way you treat them in their own country, it means diplomatically you must change your approach.
Thank you, Toga.
Liberians don't hate America, but Liberians are saying America must change its approach to us. I think this is the concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Toga.
All right, Lofa, let me go in and
I feel like I'll let Professor Larry respond.
yeah, because I have to head out. So let me just, you see, this is why I said we need to put at least 20% of our budget into education, because I think it's important. Because with education, we can change Liberia. We can make a lot of people benefit from the economy. Let me explain why. Toga, do you realize that Firestone is owned by a Japanese company? You keep saying America, 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 Firestone. Do you know that Firestone is owned by a Japanese company? You probably don't. Do you realize that a lot of people are not getting visas because Liberia, like Ghana, and so many other African countries, when they come to America, they overstay their visa? So you have to understand the U.S. immigration policy. It's because of people overstaying their visa that now it has become difficult for people to get visa to come to this country. You have to understand it. Do you also realize that because we had a serious issue with issuing visas, especially a diplomatic passport, to very shady characters, it made a lot of countries nervous when people are traveling from Liberia, because Liberia is a sort of a transit point for drug dealers? You can't blame the Americans for that. Do you also realize that if you are listening to someone like Edwin Snow complain about being sanctioned, and you understand some of the dealings that he has been involved in, you are not standing and back Edwin Snow. So you're claiming America is benefiting. You mentioned Firestone. Firestone is owned by a Japanese company. And Liberia has the right to change any agreement with Firestone or Bridgestone or any one of those companies so that it can set up a plant in Liberia, as opposed to receiving, as opposed to sending the raw materials and bringing back the finished goods. Foreign companies doing slippers and other different things in Liberia, we can change the economy. We don't have to do that. It's like someone who is an alcoholic blaming the liquor store for selling them alcohol.
Thank you.
It's someone who has a drug dependency blaming the drug dealer for selling them drugs. You have to do is You have to do some of you have to look at yourself and say, look,
self-evaluation.
A self-evaluation. I can change this. I don't have to rely on foreign aid. That way, no CDA will come in here and walk out and kind of embarrass me. Do that because you have the resources to do it. Do you know that if everybody were to walk over to LBDI and try to demand their money, LBDI is probably insolvent? Because LBDI, will you blame America for LBDI being insolvent, or will you blame LBDI for taking your money and making loans to people who couldn't pay it back? Look how McGill came in, was able to take a huge loan to go buy a house, and he hadn't even started working. So you see, victims of people love to blame other people for their hardship. But if the people rally around, if the people came together and said, look, we're not going to be spectators in our own economy because the lawmakers are ripping us off. The people, these guys are getting brand new cars, what, every 3 years? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You don't see people in America in the legislature getting brand new cars every few years. How can one of the top 10 poorest countries, maybe even the top 5 poor country, because I think we rent like maybe 180 out of 189.
Top 5.
Top 5. You talk about Ebola. You realize America spent almost $1 billion on Ebola. They didn't do it just for the sake of doing it for Liberia. Granted, they also did it because it benefited Liberia, because when Eric Duncan left Liberia and Eric Duncan came, and within 3 weeks, he died from Ebola, America felt it was a threat to their national security. So they had to do something about it right away. So you have to look at this thing, and I let Gabriel Carter say it right. Holistically, you have to look at it in this totality. Get the facts. Don't just start blaming Firestone. You can change the contract. Look at Liska. Liska is run by the Cohen brothers over in Virginia. They manage all of the shipping registry for Liberia. Why don't we have Liberians running that? It's because Liska are signing contracts year and year and year that we are endorsing. We're not empowering Liberians. The top 3 reasons you can develop Liberia: if you empower Liberians, you give them the resources to go back and invest. You strengthen the rule of law. You are getting nowhere if you don't strengthen the rule of law. You're wasting your time, brother. So it's one thing for us to be, people love to blame others for their misery. Like my brother Robert over here, he came to this country when he was 13. I came when I was 16. By the time 1 year after I came over here, my father had passed away. My mother passed away. I was an orphan living in Harlem. How did I do it? Because the education system in Liberia that brought me over here, by the time I was 17 years old in high school over here, the teacher was handing my papers around. Why? Because the education system in Liberia was better at that time. By the time I hit 18, I had a job on Wall Street. Why? Because the education system in Liberia was better. Invest in education, bro. I was an orphan living in Harlem. How did I rise up to be a VP? The education system in Liberia built the foundation, the honesty. People drop the money on the subway. I run, pick it up, hand it over to them. I grew up with a single mother in Liberia who taught me the value of honesty. I don't blame anybody. My man, you told God you come to this country right now. You hustle, you educate yourself, you will do extremely well. We can't be blaming others for that. I stopped that blame thing. I could have turned around and said, oh, God took my father, God took my mother. I could have become an atheist and start hating people. I could have been in prison because I was living in Harlem, hanging around people who were drug dealers and all that stuff. But why did I not follow that path? Because I took self-responsibility. Self-responsibility and the training I got from the high school. I was attending St. Patrick's. I don't know how my mother did it to pay that school fee. But every day I go to my mother's grave over in Jersey and I tell her, thank you for what she did for me. So I think that's all, God, we can change Liberia. We can change it. Y'all just don't understand what it takes to change it. We need to stop blaming other people. We need to look right now. Somebody come over here and they say Jesus Christ is going to come over to Liberia to help Liberia. We'll cost that person. We will cost that person. We got to start helping each other. We got to start embracing each other. This whole thing about people in America don't understand what Liberians are going through. That's the divisiveness we're talking about right now. What makes you think you in Liberia know Liberia better than other people living in America? Do you know what I do in Liberia? Because I don't come on social media and talk about it. Do you know what I do in Liberia or who I know in Liberia? You don't know. I don't brag about it. So it's the same divisiveness we're talking about. Embrace your brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Encourage them to come back home and invest. Ghana started embracing the African-American brothers. Look at how many Americans got houses in Ghana today, and the Ghanaian economy did extremely well. Come on, man. Get with the program. Let me swing it back over to you guys.
Professor Larry, no, before you leave, quick question. If I were to ask
Firestone,
you,
they've been here 100 plus years, only 4,000 employees. Only 4,000 employees. Go to your website.
Toga, hold on one second. Toga, don't do
4,000
it.
employees on their own
Toga,
website.
hold on one second.
But you don't need them. You can build the infrastructure in there.
Over a few months ago.
Toga,
You still understand it.
Toga, here's my thing,
Professor
right?
Larry,
Here's my thing.
Firestone has always been an American company.
No, but Toga, Firestone, no. I disagree. I'll
No,
Firestone.
that's not true.
I'll Firestone. Firestone, I
just took over.
No, but no.
Always been an American company.
No, but Firestone have done a lot. That'd be frank now. They are doing a lot.
I know. Firestone,
Yeah,
even on their website, they are saying they have invested over $2 billion in Liberia, but they got
Of
4,000 employees.
No, but because you know what?
Only 4,000 employees.
Because I'm Firestone right now. Right now. It's Firestone. They are so Firestone.
I'm reading from the people's website. Ellis Jogi always say go on the website. And I'm taking it from
the Firestone that were born there. Not Firestone. You're talking about not today. I'm telling you.
I was born on Firestone, my man. I was born in Firestone.
On the people's website.
Man, let us talk about. Your time finish.
No, your time to talk.
Yeah, but give me a turn. Let Lofa finish. Give me a turn.
Why Lofa got to be coming in again? Talk.
No, but the moderator, you got to call me first and I'll talk. Relax.
Say, man, finish, brother.
Well, go ahead. You know, Toga trying to.
I want to say, my man, Toga, relax. Toga, okay, my turn. Can you give me my time, please, sir? I'll come to like bro, we'll drink beer together, man. You hired to.
The train gotta go on back. The train gotta go on.
No, wait. So my man, Toga, just because we're on public radio and TV, yeah, never in your life come on this show and try to discredit where we are from. I'm from Treytown. My father's from Treytown. Treytown is 15 miles away from.
They gotta go away by again.
No, it's very serious. Treytown is spelled Trade. Treytown. It's a very significant part of Grand Bassa County.
We district.
Okay. And my father is a traditional chief. So I know my history. But look, let me go back to a few things. You said, and you know, Professor, I'm so happy that you are on this show with us because you bring a different perspective, right? I've learned a lot. To be honest with you, I've learned a lot from you. When you speak from an informed place, and I think this is what these calls are about. And I don't like to pin this us versus them kind of situation. I woke up this morning to a message from a very good friend who was very grateful and appreciative that I was able to remember him on Thanksgiving, even though I'm planning a wedding, right? And he said, there's nothing that you ever want in this life that God will not give you, because for you to be planning a wedding, but you still think about my 26, I really appreciate that. I mentioned that to say that they are grateful Liberians, but there are Liberians who are also understanding. But beyond that, just because we're in this country doesn't mean that we've forgotten where we're from. The professor and others have mentioned the remittances to Liberia from the diaspora. Liberians in this country have driven the Liberia's economy for decades. We don't have no private sector. This is the reason why a government job has been like a war zone, pretty much. We don't have private sector. You talked about why should we take Indians to do nails? Why shouldn't Liberians? You talked about how the Americans treat Liberians who are standing for visa. Have you thought about why our people are spending the nice days at the American embassy for visa, even in the rain? Have you thought about that? You know why? Because our leaders have failed to provide them the opportunities in Liberia that they seek in America. Do you know how many opportunities are in this country? I've seen men and women who are drivers for others in Liberia have come here, and after 1 year, they've become self-sufficient. This is what America provides.
Robert, you okay? Robert, you okay? See, when we say don't mess with the people from Grand Bassa, you think it's a joke. You talk about Toga. See, Tomalin, take us home.
Okay. Look, guys, I want to say thank you, Professor Kenneth. Look, you made my day. You know, you made my day. Look, sometimes I say, look, we'll have a class here. You just help out a whole day for a class lecture, because when you're talking, I want you to continue to talk. In fact, somebody from the government watching the show, they say, Georgie, that guy there, you're going to send the man to come home. I said, the man tried to help Ellen government, help we are government. They said the man, they rejected the man. The man, I know you're trying to government, we know. So you keep on trying. But we're asking for a number. Yeah, y'all wait. That will fit on him. That because the argument get what we want to be, then we'll let him go. Right now, we need him. We need him more than your government. But on a serious note, it has been a pleasure sharing the platform with you. I really appreciate it a lot. And thank you so much. You have done your story just like I was emotional when you're talking about how you came to the country and you lost your parents. You know, I know what it takes. And I'm gonna give you credit. Though. You have endured a lot, and thank you so much for what you have done for yourself and for our country and everyone. But today we had a great show. Look, guys, Raptel Pele, she played her part. It is true that she said some things that most of the things she said she achieved. She was almost right on point with the U.S. government. Yes, you know, I think the U.S. government. I think Madam Rodriguez overreacted. That's why I think when she went back, she took her time. They did a better statement now, saying that it will still work with the government and so forth. And then the government librarian issued a statement too now, saying that the distance is set from the guy. The government librarian said no. What the guy said today, then now also she spoke in her own right, but we in our opposition. So I think they have already settled it something diplomatically. They have settled it. Government say no. What she's saying, but again. The argument would be your sanction because you all saw the girl's statement and she still said it. But again, it left with Cyril Beslow, Yanti, and Joe Bogart to handle that one diplomatically. But guys, let us continue to pray for our country. We are in a very serious situation. You know, I was on the show tonight all day. The VP was watching the show and we were texting back and forth, and he was enjoying the show. And he said, "My man, Labrador got a lot." So we're happy that everybody pay attention to our platform. Everybody watching, see where the country will go. We have a lot to do. So let's pray for our country, Lofa. We're in a serious situation. We know what happened in the next 5 years. That will happen. We all know where will happen. Things happening. And let us pray for our country and wish the best for our Liberia.
Amen to that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. This in itself, I just want to use this time to say, great. It was a great interaction, and I'm glad we use this time to really engage the audience.
Like Grace and Ludacris.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Grace is she's that far. We don't see Ludacris in the picture. Grace, why you all the way?
That be great money shot. You put it on video, man. What Grace? You show Grace on a video, man.
I got a question for everybody. Okay, you in your 20s, put it in. You in your 20s, put it in.
Hold up, where's Ludacris?
You in your 30s, put it in. Do it in.
Is it Grace got her hair up?
God, remember Ludacris and myself, we both put him at the same height.
I'm 40.
Oh, getting started.
Hey, yeah, great voice.
Everybody in their 50s.
I get it, okay.
You see us.
Okay, I get you, Grace.
Look,
Lofa, thank you for the show, man. You did well about.
No, man. I mean, it was a great show, and I'm glad that we were able to, do what we did earlier to educate Liberians on, things that we are discussing. And I think Robert is back. I would like to give Robert the opportunity to, kind of conclude
in our transitional justice process. He must.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cut that out, guys. Thank you.
I will just conclude, but look, we've got to be able to
do a self-evaluation about where we are as a nation and really, really think about the future of our country. What Liberians are going through in Liberia is because we have allowed it to happen. The reason why our people will want to leave our country is because they do not see a future in Liberia. And we must begin to provide that future that they see in other countries. Just recently, a young kid went to one of those European countries, Finland, with a Liberian team, and he left his hotel and ran from the team. Today, the team was supposed to go to Spain, and when this Spanish embassy heard about the news, they delayed the entire team visa. Kids, young kids, are leaving Liberia because they don't see a future in that country, and we can't blame other people for it. We have to look at ourselves and do better. But it's a great show, and Lofa, you did a great job hosting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Again, like I said, we must start blaming ourselves, taking responsibility for our failures in order for us to progress. It appears as though we want to shift the blame on everybody else. We have our lawbreakers, as the orator mentioned in her deliberation. She referenced them as lawbreakers. Okay? Even though she added a little bit of humor to the deliberation, but she knew exactly what she meant. But we overpay these people. Today, if you were to just do your own survey on the social media, Tomalin, you kept posting all of these posts in the chat room. Did you see how they were celebrating? They were not taking responsibility for the failure, that they were shifting the blame on someone else. When you were hired to do a piece of job, Robert, you hired to do a piece of job, to serve, whether as a supervisor, manager, whatever position you hired to serve in. If you're not performing adequately, you don't get promotion.
No.
And if you underperform, you may probably be dismissed.
Absolutely.
Okay? So the expectation is your performance. And that's all we are asking of these lawbreakers and politicians, to just do their part. So I personally will say in my closing remark, let us not blame the United States. Okay? Let us blame our lawbreakers and the politicians who claim to be in the interest of Liberia, but they're sincerely not doing what they're supposed to do. Folks, we want to thank all of you guys for being a part of the conversation today. Wherever you may be following us from, it had been a great time sharing your 26th, and we want to bring you back to Monday, where we should be discussing another deal of Liberia history or anything else that have to deal with Liberia. But folks, it was a wonderful time. Your host, your humble seven, Lofa Julius. Right next to us is your man Robert Guar, and of course St. Tomalin George. Back home, Ansu, we said we are out for the day. Have this as a wonderful time. Enjoy your holiday. Independence Day to all of you. We out.
Also that
They say, Tomalin, they say, Tikalabara is right now.
Oh, that's my two time on me.
They say Tikalabara hot right now, man.
Can you but I want to be there because I feel so packed. It's jam.
Jam packed.
Yeah. I thought somebody can steal for you by will. I ain't like, bro, I can't even go to that kind of town. Go for this.
I heard everybody. I heard that's everybody go. It's almost like Christmas party. Everybody go there.
They're gonna stay open until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Including government officials.
They planted there.
Jesus
Christ. Especially with the Julian there by the time.
Julius, Lofa, somebody say they will sue you for trying to put a port. I call a port name of visa Benet. The post say you get no.
Well, let him go ahead. Let him sue. Let him sue. I stand with it. I said Lofa Julius. It wasn't closing argument. I called that name, and I stand with what I say. I will show the evidence.
No.
But Tomalin, it's true though. It's true. Let them start behaving right. Then we'll not call the names.
Forget that away.
Don't start calling name. Let Dylan behave right. He will not be denied a visa again.
I swear they don't need blaster onto the phone.
Okay. Take her home, boss man.
Name is Grace Kumapakima. I am a child and a grandchild too. Someday I will grow up to be a woman and a mother too. All children are vulnerable, be it rich, poor, black or white. We as children need your protections at all times. Stop stigmatizing us by raping us. Sex is not for children. Stay away from us. We have the right to a healthy and happy life. We have the right to move and play freely even if our parents or guardians are not around. We as girls, children say a big no to gender-based violence.
Let us stop the abuse against our children, girls and boys. Rape is evil. It is a crime. Don't hesitate to call the police whenever there's a situation. A message from the Liberian Women Advocacy Network International, Lawani.